Very good.
All right, fellas, y'all ready? All right, good evening. It's April 2nd, 2024. It is 7 p.m. Welcome to the Town of Stokesdale's special called meeting / budget workshop. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you would, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Rigsby, could you lead us in prayer?
Sure. Bow our heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, our time together is always short, but let's make it meaningful, worshipful, and with purpose. We're here tonight to continue our town's work and to help our citizens. Please give us the strength, the wisdom, and the courage to do so. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Wigsby.
All right, next up, gentlemen, review and adopt the agenda. Entertain a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the agenda?
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call question. Jim?
Aye.
I'm aye. Tim?
Hold on, I need to read it. Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry, I'm being attacked by a bug over here.
Gotta watch out. And Jimmy?
Aye. Aye.
All right, that brings us to citizens' comments from the floor. Anybody in the crowd like to speak tonight? All right, seeing that there are none, moving on to the purpose of the meeting tonight, it's to discuss the 24-25 fiscal year budget. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Finance Officer / Budget Officer, Ms. Kimberly Thacker. And Kim, let's start with the general fund.
So on the general fund, on the general fund, we'll start with the income. And I did this based on, the past few years from our actuals and our year-to-date as well. That's how I based our numbers for, this year, for the budget 24-25. The beer and wine excise tax, we've not received that yet for this fiscal year. However, the past couple of years, you see that we've received an average of around $24,000, so that's why I used 24,000. Contributions and donations for parade, I also did kind of an average on that for 3,500. Well, that average was used for 22 and 23 because that's something we're just not ever really sure of as far as our sponsors. I would be okay moving that up if you guys would, but I kind of like leaving that one there. The Greensboro-Jamestown profit share, that has gone down significantly. And I have not gotten a reason why yet, why that has gone down significantly. However, I have all plans to reach out to Greensboro, Jamestown, actually Guilford County, to find out what is going on with that.
Is this correct? We've received 686 so far for 2024?
Correct.
I want to ask, why hadn't we been on the phones before then? Good gosh.
How do we receive those, Kim? Do we receive those quarterly or monthly?
Check, those come to us, on a quarterly, let me get my QuickBooks up here, I should have already had it up.
I haven't heard of any new legislation that would have changed our receipts for that item.
I thought there was an email or something that I received on that.
How many quarters have we been?
That's what I'm trying to get my verification code, I'm sorry, to get
Okay,
in my
okay, all right,
QuickBooks.
no problem.
Well,
It's not letting me
We'll
do it.
let you get your codes and then we'll start asking.
And does anybody here know why it was 26,000 in 22 budget year versus 9,000 last year?
Well, we normally get now that's our actual that we received, and that's from the alcohol, from the Greensboro, Jamestown, which is the Guilford County.
I know, but it was already fallen in the previous budget year. I don't remember us talking about that, but this seems like something that we should have already had a discussion about. And I don't remember. So, I know it's not because people are drinking less, because every time I see folks going in and out of those stores, they got their arms full.
And we're certain it all is alcohol sales related. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you know if it's from liquor or?
That I don't know.
That's the Greensboro Jamestown profit share, that is liquor, the ABC stores, correct?
Yes.
And the beer and wine, that's
for the
excise
state.
tax at any place
Yes,
that's done anywhere. That could be sold at the buy rate or anywhere, and you
that
get
is correct.
a share of that. So that's the,
Let me get to mine.
I feel like this is snuck up on us.
I search it, it only pulls up our previous budgets. I don't see anything else about it.
you can't pull up 21, can you?
Yeah. the
What's
budget-
21 say?
From Guilford, yeah,
No,
from
don't you,
Guilford
you
County.
keep doing what you're doing, let him do that.
Guilford County budget.
I don't want you, have to get you going 20 different directions.
I think I can. I say I can.
Well, if you can, they can.
This is about where that computer starts, is about 21.
Just wonder what we got then.
Final budget. We got 21-22. Let's see, it was. Well, hold on.
Yep.
Get it turned around here. It says 2,000.
Kim, are you looking in QuickBooks?
Yes.
Is that?
Sorry, 13,000. I was reading a line off.
So that was 21.
Yeah, well, no, proposed FY '22, that's proposed.
Yeah.
Proposed income. The actuals aren't on here.
Well, I'm gonna hope somehow there's a glitch somewhere and we're owed money.
Okay. Greensboro, Jamestown. Since 2020. So those are done, very weird. They are on quarter, yes, they're on quarterly. And we normally receive 4 of those. And they have been 2020 for August 31st, 2020 through May 21st, they were significant, and they have been from the previous before that. And they continued to be that way through towards the end of last year. Well, they went down, see, it goes, it averaged from 6,000, 5,000, then there was a big 9,000.
Quarterly or yearly?
Yes, no, that's the quarter. Like, they were 6,500 to 6,400 and 9,100 in the years past. And then this year, they have been a lot smaller. Our last one that we received for last quarter last year was 4,124 for June. So they are very sporadic, they're very sporadic, different amounts. So,
Could we find out how they
yes.
figure that? I mean, maybe they're building buildings and taking that out of the profit or something, I don't know. I mean, not saying that's what, maybe there's something. And maybe they're not sending us our check.
Kim, maybe try giving Summerfield and Oak Ridge, their finance officer, a call
Okay,
as you're looking into it.
okay,
So we've only got $686 so far this year,
that's correct.
and that was one quarter?
That was, one on 10/30. Which was odd, very different, because we've never received one on August 30th. And then February.
Yeah, just check into it, and
I will.
maybe we got some money.
What were the amounts on those two?
The first one was $269.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I don't know how true that is, but I just went to Summerfield's and their ABC distribution. It's
They have an ABC store.
that's why, okay. It was $175,000.
Holy cow.
It's actually dropped though. Dropped
For how
75
much?
It dropped from 175 in 22 to 100 in 23.
Does Summerfield have does that say Greensboro, Jamestown profit share?
No, it just says ABC distribution. They don't have anything that says.
They don't separate it
Jamestown.
out?
Yeah, profit
Beer and wine,
share.
oh, yeah, there's
Well,
a
yeah,
beer
they
and
have a
wine,
beer
yeah,
and wine
there it
sales
is,
tax,
okay.
Do they have a line for that?
Beer and wine
Yes.
tax, they do.
Well, that's beer and wine, that's two different things.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that says ABC distribution. That's the one I
But
would.
that's the only one there, it's not there's not like a ABC distribution and then a Greensboro. So they don't get two,
No.
because they do have a
Definitely
store.
got Greensboro on here. But that's all under intergovernmental revenue.
So just a follow-up item on that. There's a lot of follow-up on
Oh,
that.
yes,
one,
yes,
so.
yes, and I have my notes for this.
Shoot out an email once you learn some more. You know, we're hoping this is just a timing issue of check disbursement.
Well, yes, I am hoping of that, because that's what I said, the one check was received at a very weird month.
Well, you mentioned something about a time frame of August 30th to May 21st.
I was just looking at my, just an average of the past, from August 20th, 2020, 23,
Okay.
to see what the difference was, which was
What did we-
huge.
What did we budget this year?
Oh,
We budgeted quite a bit, didn't we?
no.
No,
for
that's
this year.
the,
No, that's for this year.
Oh.
I should have brought those things with me.
Got it. Let me get to the right year.
23, I think.
Yeah, this fiscal year. Run is 23.
23,000.
All right. I don't believe we're going to solve this here. So moving on to investment earnings.
Yes. I dropped investment earnings for this year for 24, 25 to 75,000. I know that we've renewed several for 2 years.
Why would we drop it?
Well, because we're looking at, I mean, unless we're gonna renew, I guess we'll renew them all for 2 years.
2 years, 1 year?
Well, because the interest rates are, those are something that we're just never guaranteed, and I just always get concerned when we talk about those investment earnings, when we're basing our budget on those. We did 85,000 for 23, 24, and we're at 64.5 for this year so far. It looks like we're definitely gonna get that or exceed, I hope.
So 64, we were 64 after February. Is that right?
Yes. No, I don't have Marches in there, because I just received March reports, and I did this before March reports. So this includes February,
So 64 after 8 months.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, We'll hit that 85.
Yeah, no, I feel like that we will hit that 85. If the renewal was just a smidge less, then,
It wasn't. The renewal, I mean, we
come out like
we
96.
renewed from 3 something, so we actually went up to 4.
we were already at 4 on the,
Should come out 96 based on.
I would rather start low.
we were at 3 point, the ones we just, because we just renewed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's what I'm saying. We were at 3-ish. We renewed at 4.
Or was it 3? Okay. Yeah. That just makes me nervous. That's just me. With the interest. I'm with you. I mean, I get it and I understand.
I mean, I want to be conservative, but I mean, this one's math. We're locked in on our rates.
Well, I mean, I would feel comfortable going to, $95.
Why would you feel comfortable doing that?
Well, when I take what we've got and it's renewed at 3.9228, and we did renew for 2 years, and we just renewed these last ones, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So you don't have any coming to be renewed?
Well, we do, and, no, we just renewed a lot.
What I'm saying, we've got a year of
Yes.
money
yes,
going that's coming in, so I mean, that should be set.
Yes, we've got 1, 2, 3, only 3 more to go to renew. So that comes to like, if I take what we've got in the general fund at the 3.9 rate, that comes to 104,000.
Okay.
So we're locked in at 104,000.
How big are the 3 that you're talking about that we gotta renew?
They are, oh, we just renewed the biggest one, thank goodness we did that with the last 2 biggest ones, 55, 180, would be 230, and then, no, 230, and about 280,000.
How much do we have locked in at 4?
2, 6, 6, 16. $2.3.
So even if something happens and they drop a rate a half point or something, we're still in pretty good shape then.
Yes, which comes to 93,000. That's why I guess I was thinking 95.
So as long as we don't liquidate our CDRs, and spend that money. There's $93,000 that is there.
All right,
Yeah.
is anybody planning on spending those?
No.
All right, well, I'm good with 93 then.
All right.
Okay. Oh, let me get back to my spreadsheet. Miscellaneous is 500, that always fluctuates. We never know what's gonna come in for that. Planning and zoning, although I know that we received the notice from, Snyder regarding the planning and zoning fees. Our numbers are down this year on the planning and zoning.
How do you figure 30 with our numbers at 49 now? I mean, do we have a lot that's coming in for the rest of this year?
Well,
That was a number we talked about last year quite a bit.
That's a number we have no control over.
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Using
that's why-
past history is reasonable.
that's what I did on, I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I did on that one. I just used past history. They've always used around 30, we've always met it. And then, of course, with Snyder's email and going up on the fees on that.
Robbie, what do we have? We have anything hitting on planning and zoning that what you know of, planning and zoning?
Anything coming up?
Anything coming up, anything coming in?
We did receive a rezoning application for about 45 acres on Eversfield Road, so that's gonna be, that'll be a good chunk of change. I say we, Guilford County, we don't receive it first. Well, I guess we get, rezoning application isn't that much.
Priscilla,
Yeah.
doesn't she get that check and have to send the copy of the check to?
She does. I usually send that. Hold on, check on that. Maybe they just reached out to inquire. Let's see.
I mean, I don't see, I mean, we may not hit $10,000 this year. If somebody knows something, I don't know.
It's hard to say. That one I definitely would rather go lighter on. I think our first year up here in 20, I guess, which a lot of variables in 2020, but we came up really light that year.
I found those.
I think you need to, I think you need to cut it in half. I mean, we may not get $10,000 this year. If we get more, that's great, but on our income, we need to be
I agree with that.
not overstating.
Why don't we do an offset for what we just did on investment earnings? So we went up by 18. Let's drop the planning and zoning by 18.
All right, I'm good with that.
Those were minor subdivisions that we got.
45 acres?
Well, they've asked for a minor subdivision at this address. Let me pull up the address. Seems like maybe they just asked questions about that 45 acres. They did. They did, because that's the one, okay, who was in on that? I mean, I say in on that. There was an email that was brought up. I think FEI has reached out, and they're submitting an application for rezoning, and I think it's a 45-acre tract.
Okay.
And they had questions about the application, and Justin just looped me in only to answer the question, but I think it was answered at the county level. So I'm thinking of two different things. So that hadn't made its way here yet.
All right.
Is everybody okay with what we just talked about?
That's what I'm doing.
All right, moving along, we have plan review inspection fee.
That's a fee that was put in last year.
Okay.
Obviously, we've received nothing for the past several years on that one. I just left it at $5,000 because that's where it was at.
Can you refresh my memory on this one?
I got you.
Okay.
That's, so it used to, I think it was a set fee for site plan review, and now it's based off square footage. there's a set price, and then per square feet, it goes up an additional amount. The schedule of fees has it listed. I haven't looked at it in so long.
We hadn't done anything in 2 years? 3
Well-
years?
It just went into place last year.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we just did that last year.
Okay.
One place that comes to mind is across the street from me, but he's never made it to the submission process. Yeah, so it's $1,000 per case and then $100 per 1,000 gross square floor area, GFA. But we haven't received any of those.
I understand wanting to keep that in there, but I think that's a little too high. I'd maybe drop a 0 on that. Just go 500.
I'm with you.
I don't recall, I have no recollection of this at all.
Voted on it.
I
remember-
don't discount
I
that a
remember.
bit, but
Vote on it?
Cause they put it into the schedule.
Yeah, you guys voted on it.
We put, it's in the schedule now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the schedule of
I
fees.
remember.
We just ain't used it.
yeah, I don't,
If I'm
I'm
not
sure we
mistaken,
voted on it, and we haven't collected a dime,
We haven't.
so.
It was at one of the last budget workshop meetings last year. It was either,
Yeah.
it was like the second or third meeting. We didn't have the first one, so it was one of the second or third budget workshop meetings. It's when you all started to discuss the schedule of fees. I don't think we talked about it the first time, so maybe the third meeting.
Can you give me a hypothetical of
Yeah,
how,
okay.
how it worked?
So my understanding is hypothetically, if you wanted to build a garage, to work on cars out of, you bought a piece of land, it was owned commercial, then you would submit a site plan, and that site plan would have to be reviewed and approved. And it would be $1,000 to submit the plan, and then $100 per gross foot area. So the larger the building, the higher the price.
Is it just commercial?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Site plan review fees, $1,000 per case plus $100 per 1,000 square foot
I want,
gross floor.
when
area.
your time permits, I'd like for you to find that motion and that vote and copy it for me.
And I could be speaking out of turn here, but I want to say that Mr. Jones made the motion, but I could be wrong. Oh, yeah, understood.
If, Mr. Wagner?
Yes, sir.
I recall us having some discussions regarding the review of,
Water,
plans for the installation of water mains.
me too.
And that fee was to offset what we have to pay our engineer
Correct.
to review those plans and conduct inspections. It has, doesn't have a whole lot to do with, I'm not sure.
Maybe that was the
Well,
process.
well,
then.
if it's in place, how come we've received no income from it?
There are any charges on it.
We show 0 for 2024 actuals.
I'm not aware of, since January, I'm not aware of any water lines that have went in that Aaron's had to review.
Well, this is the general fund, so.
Correct.
It,
I'm not sure
That,
what that.
I don't recall anything about,
we're gonna, again, I wish you'd find that
I'll look for it.
set of minutes. I think we need more definition here, or somebody's gonna get charged for a site plan building a garage in their backyard, which I don't think that was the intent of council. If this is what I thought we were working on, it was a charge just to trying to offset what we're spending on new subdivisions to review plans
absolutely.
and inspect them.
and that's what I remember as well.
Yeah. There's no way I would have voted for $1,000 to review somebody putting a garage up in their backyard. No way.
So let's get that set of minutes out and have a look at it, and we'll figure out,
Find it.
how, we need to address this up a little bit, apparently.
Okay, so another follow-up item.
Okay, so I'm gonna, on my spreadsheet, I'm gonna make that 0 for now.
Well, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, let's 0 it, cause we don't know what it is.
I think we go to water anyway, if it's,
Maybe it shows up over there too.
We'll definitely see, because I think it was our understanding it went for the, maybe we misunderstood.
It very well may be. I mean,
I mean,
very well may be.
I don't know,
Was it in our budget this last time for 5,000?
yes.
So we're gonna come up short there too. Unless Robbie can run out and sell us some site reviews.
Now, the reason that I say that is because the only time I ever remember even that being used in a real scenario was when a person came in speaking about doing that and asked, and then he saw the schedule of fees online and asked if that's what it was about. And it's my understanding that's what it was for.
To my recollection, we had this in place before the new subdivision down here was put in. And if that's true, then where's the money that was supposed to have been collected?
Which subdivision?
Mr. Ashby's place. What, Jimmy, what did they name it?
Blacksmith.
Oh, gotcha.
Blacksmith. Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
Okay. Oh. The state collected revenue utilities, went to 295 on that because we do see that does change. We've received to date 138,898, an average that we normally receive, third and fourth quarter is around 160-ish, 1,000. So, and that's what our average has been, and so that would come to like 299,007. So I just left that one at 295.
It's good.
The town hall, park and facility rentals. I moved those to 1,500, and that is, because I'm not sure if you guys were going to be, and this is why I put this at 1,500, because I had a question regarding, with the park rentals and town hall and things like that, but with the basketball courts and the pickleball courts, I did not know if there was gonna be, if you were gonna do anything with those in the future, maybe.
I think 15's good.
Okay.
How is it we had a banner year in 2022, and then that dropped off to $845?
That's less than $50 a month, or $60.
Yeah,
That's
that-
one rental a month.
It wasn't rented out very much. There was a lot of refunds last year, I know that, for people being sick or COVID, or, I mean, you remember that?
Does this line item not include the rental of soccer fields, the volleyball court?
It should.
It should, but we haven't received anything.
The soccer fields are busy all the time.
Well,
It's just from people using them other than Parks and Rec.
yes, other than Parks and Rec, I mean,
Well, it still should be higher than this, I think. I mean,
Well, guys, we can't,
I'm fine with 1,500 in the budget, but
I'm fine if we don't charge anything, but if we're gonna have the fee, we have to collect it. I mean, we're gonna have a situation where we're gonna have some people paying it and others skipping it, and that hardly doesn't seem fair. And apparently that's what's going on.
if the fields are being reserved, we should get income for that. That's what we should be doing.
And, I mean, wouldn't the Parks and Rec contract, or what we charge them, shouldn't that be in that line item?
Yeah.
And that's what, 1,500?
we haven't been paid by Parks and Rec. And I know that this was something that was brought up, last time, I think was in,
How do we go about auditing those rental fees and what have you? We
I can
can't,
pull my deposits that, from Chris address, I can pull those deposits from there as far as the park rental. Because
Well,
those are collected up front and then I use them.
Have they been paid and we have misapplied them to another category, or have they
No.
not been paid is what you,
Well, no, I'm not gonna say that, because I'm going by I go by the deposits. When the deposits are going in, Chris puts behind there like park rental, shelter rental, and I go by each one of those deposits on, each time they're deposited. And it specifically says on there, park rental, shelter rental.
well, do you have any reason to believe that the 2022 actuals of $4,020 are incorrect?
Let me go see.
There's obviously an outlier here.
Mr. Jones, I seem to think that Parks and Rec paid us about that time period. So that may be 1,500, 2,000 of that money.
2,800.
How much?
Well,
Parks and Rec paid us $2,800.
Okay, so that would be consistent with,
22, if I'm looking at it right now. They
Well,
paid us on
that-
August 23rd, 2021, which would have went on the 22 financials.
What happened on 23?
Do you know anything about that? About the Parks and Rec?
I don't
I
ever,
don't either.
well, my point is, it can't be free to some people while we charge other people. I don't know how we get away with that since we're operating a
I agree.
government-owned facility.
Who
If-
handles the Park and Rec? Who, can I ask who communicates with them and?
That would be a great question for y'all to answer.
I don't deal with them.
Okay.
can we, reach out to them tomorrow, set a meeting up?
Yeah.
With whoever, and we need to get some consistency in this. We need a new contract, or we need a contract.
I
They-
don't, think- we don't have.
They may not be reserving the fields. If they're not reserving them, it's first come, first serve.
Correct.
But if they're not reserving them, then they're not guaranteed the fields either.
Correct.
So,
Was there a contract between?
Not that I'm aware of. A contract approved by council, not that I'm aware of. Now, there could be a facilities use agreement that they filled out, but that's,
So last year, they didn't pay anything.
No.
I'm
They,
not sure.
they,
And this year,
all right, well,
I,
what's your request, Jim?
I feel like we need to have a meeting with them and discuss that, it's been, in the past, it's been, whatever the fee we had charged up until 22. We just need to, because they are reserving the fields of sorts. They're scheduling practices on the fields. They're coming out, they're lining the fields. So they're making use of the fields at their own time and convenience.
Well,
So, I think we need, and we talked about this several times before, that they're paying something, but they're not paying enough to cover the maintenance, which we understand that. But it's always been the intent that they did pay something,
absolutely.
so.
And, when we have lights on these fields, when and if,
they're not gonna pay
there,
then either.
there should be a premium for the lights being on.
yeah, we got to do something, but we didn't put them in there to,
Well,
Well,
we need to look back 22, 21, 20. And then see what happened last year. Were we billing them? Is there a bill in their folder for, I'm talking about, okay, we know they paid in 22. So what accompanied that? Did we send them an invoice and then last year didn't send them an invoice? For some reason, we didn't get paid.
I've never invoiced them. I've never known the connection with that.
Right.
I think, before I came, there wasn't, one time they paid $3,000 before, in the past or something.
Oh,
And I looked at that year, it's been years ago.
yeah, I can't imagine it being more than that, but.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
never any more than that. I just remember there was one time we looked at it, and it was around $3,000, and then,
I think if you'll go back far enough, you'll find that they were consistently paying to rent the fields every year.
or you don't know.
I'll get in some numbers at home if you need them, if you can't find them in this building.
I can look at the past.
You know, Derek and I and Jimmy came on right after COVID, and I would be willing to bet that we didn't charge them during the COVID years because they probably didn't run a league that year or two. So you're probably gonna need to go back to like 16, 17, 18 to get some kind of history. I'm pretty sure because Parks and Rec shut down as far as like basketball and all during that period.
Well, they paid in 22, we just need to look, see 21, 20. When was
Well,
COVID, 20?
They didn't pay in 21, because I've got this back all the way to 7/24/2020.
They tend to get angry if they have to pay in the past. One of the things I would point out here, the way our system works here, an out-of-town league could reserve those fields with a facility use agreement, and Stokesdale Parks and Rec wouldn't have a place to play. And then how are we gonna settle that, guys? I mean, we'll need a referee.
I think we're all agreeing here.
We just need to nail down the specifics and put something in writing. So they're protected and we have a clear understanding of how much they're gonna pay.
Well, we already have a facilities use agreement. They can't have organized play and use the fields without using that agreement.
So do we have a copy of that? Would that be in Priscilla's files?
I would say so.
Can we go look at it real quick? Just pull her folder?
I don't know where they're at, but I'll look for them.
I think I know where they're at.
I'll be right. I think I know where park stuff is.
Usually to the left of where she sits at a drawer kind of down low.
Who is Jason Baines?
He runs a soccer program.
Yep.
Okay, so there was in 2019, I'm sorry, I got this to go back as far as it would, which is 1/9/19, that's when I converted over. He paid $770 in January of 2019. And then $1,370 in July of 2019. And then another payment was not paid until August of 2021 in the amount of $2,800. So that goes all the way back to 2019, January of 2019 to date. So 2,800, 1,370 and 700, I think that's what I said. Yeah.
It, Mr. Foy, at $10 an hour and $15 an hour, given the administrative cost with staff and what have you, we might be better off to just have first come, first serve and not charge anybody rather than spend all this money to administer and collect $10 an hour
They can't
for
run a
those
league
fields.
like it, I mean, there's no way you can schedule games on a first come, first served basis. And have, I mean, you can't do it.
Well, we can't,
Well, then we gotta do something different. Or that we can plow it up and plant a garden.
$10 an hour for those fields, given what it cost us, and then we're gonna add lights to that. It's not very much.
We're gonna have to discuss it, but I'm just saying, you're not gonna have a soccer league in Stokesdale if you do a first come, first served basis, cause the folks out of Greensboro that need fields are gonna be coming out here.
They're not reserving them now.
Yeah,
It just hasn't,
you can't do a planned league without being able to reserve the fields for them, so we gotta get it right. I mean,
for whatever reason, we haven't had that competing. We have had it in the past where we've had multiple conferences or leagues, whatever you wanna call them, trying to rent the fields at the same time.
well, my concern is for the Stokesdale soccer program. I'm not worried about anybody from outside that comes in and we get this figured out.
And that's what I'm saying. All they gotta do is walk in there and reserve the fields for
I think this
weeks
is,
on end
I think this is
from out of town.
easily correctable.
Oh, no, we'll get it fixed, but you can't run it without being able to reserve, within the reserve. I mean, I'd rather for them pay a big fee and just them take the fields. You know,
So it looks like, I found the folder here for Parks and Rec, the most recent one. And it looks like an invoice was sent to them in August of '21, February of 2020, July of 2019. And it's just an add-up of their
who sent the
field
invoices?
use. I don't know. The email address is deputyclerk@stokesdale.org. So whoever was using that email address then.
So what it is, we haven't sent an invoice, is what it really comes down to. Is there a contract?
It's
No.
just a use agreement, and I
Yeah.
think it's based on $10 an hour, cause he's got $280, 280 hours written on the form is his estimate, and it says $2,800.
Does our paperwork ask them to prepay, or do we agree to bill?
Well, I'm sure if they didn't get an invoice, they ain't gonna send us a check. So-
Yeah, I would imagine that this is after the fact. I can't speak for certain because I wasn't here then.
I was thinking they paid in advance is the reason I was asking.
I don't know. Well,
They advance
it's vague.
as they're using, I think this can be resolved
We can reach out.
with the phone call.
Start billing
Oh, yeah.
myself quarterly or something, if you guys tell me to,
Yeah,
whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think I'm the only one that was here back then. It's not fun.
what's that?
Well, I think it's a different leadership
We
team now.
have two different groups, claiming the same territory, and people calling the sheriff, and finger pointing, and screaming, and
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun.
Two different groups. There's only one group in Stokesdale.
We never received this one, and this may be the one
There-
that you're talking about. from
we'll
over
talk
here.
later.
There was a football program a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're getting one uptown, you know?
Not just, we'll talk, but remind me, we'll.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember some of that stuff going on.
Help you. I don't wanna go through that again.
Spring, fall, after the fact.
This needs to, this is not Kim Thacker, this is Kim Hemrick, just FYI.
Okay. Oh,
Just
yeah.
need to make that plain clear, thank you.
Okay,
So my suggestion, Robbie, is just reach out to, and just have them just come up and have a conversation and say, hey, you know what? We need to start doing something more formal. We're gonna bill you. We need this, going forward, we need to, whatever works best for them. I mean, I know their budget may be sensitive to the spring or the fall based on how much, cause usually the spring's a lot more robust. So just work out something with them.
Okay.
If they need to make payments or whatever, but just, let's get something in place.
Sounds good.
yeah. We need to get that in place before I spend much time, because I don't think I'm gonna spend another minute on these lights until that's in place.
Understood.
I just wanted to say that publicly.
That was not paid.
This was never paid, these others, but this was 2020, and
That may
During
generate
COVID.
some interest from outside groups having the lights there too, which in turn will increase the demand for the same field again.
March.
We're gonna have to talk, does anybody have an estimate on those
Yeah.
lights? How
Yeah,
much it would
it hit
cost
in
to run?
March.
Yeah,
25th is when it was billed.
it was very
It was
inexpensive.
March 13th.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, that's probably why this was never
Well, I
paid.
mean, we need to,
Okay.
But that's the
we
good
need to
idea,
at least recoup.
Okay.
I mean,
We'll do good.
yeah.
Who's gonna cut them on?
I didn't
Who's
either.
gonna cut them off?
Well, we figured you was an electrician.
dealt with
bunch.
them.
We'd
I
let
can
you
throw
do
a
it.
switch.
We'd let you
I
do
was,
it.
I think with Tim, we talked about maybe some kind of timer, or if they reserve the lights, we would be able to go in and cut them on based on the reservation, so they come on and off by themselves. I know that's how a lot of the fields do it, the newer fields.
Summerfield has something where,
Some automation.
Well, nowadays you can do it on your telephone,
that's right.
you know?
Well, that'd be fancy.
I think this is
You
all,
can do it on your telephone.
all resolvable.
Yeah, we'll get it all fixed up. But we got our first obligation is to the
Maybe why it was so low.
league here in Stokesdale.
That's right.
Let me look at my inbox.
Okay,
one way or the other.
moving along with 3 follow-up items. We changed the investment earnings from 75 to 93. We decreased the planning and zoning fees from 30 to 12. Kim is gonna follow up on the Greensboro Jamestown profit share. The number is very low, and just looking to know where that money comes from and how it's determined.
And I think I've already sent one email and have not received a reply, so.
Okay.
I think just sitting here looking through things, but I'll get up on that one.
And we're zeroing the plan and review fee.
Zero on the plan review inspection fee. We changed that. And that puts us at,
And then follow up from when that was adopted and what the genesis of that was.
that plan review fee
Oh,
thing.
yeah, I'm looking for it.
So that brings us to, 431,000 at this point for the income, which I
Okay.
know that's subject. That's where we're at right now. Okay. Park investment, I left blank. I do not know,
It's fine.
okay. Events fund, community, 3,500, just matches my income at the top for contributions and donation parade. Parks, electrical repairs, cleaning, lighting, I did bump that up to 8,500 because we now do have the basketball, pickleball courts, and I just was thinking of maintenance and lighting,
Very good.
and things like that, so I did bump that up to 8,500. Cause I figured the expense would go up on that. As you see in the past, it's been around 50, 55-ish.
Okay. No, I agree with the logic there. The events fund, I mean, I think we need to budget a little bit more for the parade. I mean, you'll keep taking it down lower and lower. How about 4,500?
Okay. Can I make-
We got more than that back last year, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't think we spent it last year.
What I'm saying is, we got it.
Yeah.
That's something we'll get back on the other end.
Oh, that man right there.
Yeah.
Made it happen.
Would you buck me on moving the events income up? If we move it?
I think for 4,500, we've got to pay for the deputies. Somehow these daggum banners in town always get put in that category.
Say, why can't we lose those banners? You know, why is the daggum banners blue to start with?
I
You
mean, I
know,
like,
the people that put those up didn't know the history of Stokesdale.
the banners are fine.
No, they're not.
I just don't want them coming from this fund.
No, they're not.
But you don't have anywhere else to put it. I understand that.
Okay,
4,500?
that's what I moved it to, if you guys agree.
What are we moving?
The, events fund
Yeah,
community
that's fine.
to 4,500.
Are you
Okay.
moving did you say you was moving something on income?
I asked, and I think I got knocked down on that one right now.
What'd you have it at?
The income.
I was just asking to move the events community up to 45,
Yeah,
but,
you don't never know, T might get mad. Won't let us borrow his light. Wait a minute, he ain't got the light. What am I thinking about?
right.
Yeah.
All right, so for total cultural and recreational, that puts us at 13,000, since we moved that one up.
Okay.
All right, advertising, planning and zoning, that is 6,500, because, we never know about that one, and the news and record is, might I add, ridiculous. Their fees are unbelievable.
Have they not changed, Robbie, this is a question you may be able to ask. Isn't there something has been changed in the law about the advertising?
Yeah, yes, yeah, you're correct.
Let him answer
about the-
this.
Would you explain our attempt to reach out to the Guilford County Clerk of the Board? No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah, I'll be glad to. So, Ms. Martin let me know a while back that Guilford County had somehow got the state legislature to pass some sort of bill that allows them to host on their website an online space for legal ads that all municipalities in Guilford County are allowed to use, as well as Guilford County itself. After that happened, and as a result of that, they were in a lawsuit with all the local papers that distribute throughout Guilford County. So it's my understanding through a conversation with someone at the county that they put that on hold until the lawsuit was settled. It's since been settled, and I think they're now not necessarily encouraging folks to use it, but are saying that they use it, the county uses it, but now they're saying that municipalities can use it. Ms. Martin, after speaking with her about it, she was kind of still in favor of putting something in the paper saying that we're going to put all of our legal ads on the website. Guilford County says we've already done that. You don't have to do that. But it's probably been quite a bit of time. So with all that being said, we have reached out. I say we, Ms. Martin more so than anyone, has reached out at least 3 times to the clerk of the Board of Commissioners in Guilford County and has received no response. I've reached out to her for other reasons and didn't receive a response, but can't answer.
So we
as to
don't know
why.
what the law really is, because what we want to do, we've got to go by what the law says we got to do.
Well, we can certainly look up, that would be a session, it'd be in a house session. They call them, what is it, HBL, House Bill Law?
Let's do this.
Local bill.
Robbie, would you mind contacting Chuck with what you just talked about?
Yeah.
And ask him to cross-reference I guess the new state bill that passed that allows this. If this is something that we can do,
Yeah, it would drop the price significantly. Because right now, on certain cases, like for instance, Board of Adjustment, the cost is $250. It cost, I couldn't tell you exactly, but it's double that to put it in the paper.
it's tremendous. You've got to,
Now another thing on the Board of Adjustment, did you not say that we don't have to do that anymore because the only people that's concerned are the adjoining neighbors?
Correct. Our development ordinance states that we have to, the state statute says that we don't. So that's an issue with the development ordinance that
We
have to
got
be
to change our
updated.
ordinance.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's something, you need to make a note of that when we're doing.
Oh, it's
160.
it's been noted. That's all in the that's a part of 160D
We
compliance.
gotta change that,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it might be worth, that might be one that would be worth us, throwing in a couple things that we need to do.
Yeah.
And get that taken care of, because, how much does it cost, $400 or $500 advertised?
6 to 7.
Okay, so 2 advertisements, we could pay for having a hearing to change that, to make it compliant. I know we could save money by waiting and do it at all, but we may have 2 or 3, hearings that
no,
cost us.
that's great. And we're compliant.
Yeah, and we're compliant, and that shows that we're making progress.
So our most recent Board of Adjustment hearing was last month on March the 14th. To put that in the paper 2 times, it was $472.64. Greensboro News and Record, yeah. Yeah, we can't use the Northwest Observer because I think it has to be weekly. Oh, yeah, understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get on
It sounds
that.
like there's a good platform already out there for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you need to run it by Justin as well. That's something I would like to go to.
Yeah, it's no sense of wasting money.
Right.
We're
But
spending
it
money
must have
for
been
nothing.
Did you a different bill?
The papers must have gotten a lot of money from all the municipalities on it if
Oh,
they're gonna
yeah.
go.
I wish I could sue somebody to make them do business with me.
Right.
Can I say something?
Of course.
If we do this, I would remind council, I still think it'd be a good idea to have a very brief statement in the, where we normally post these things stating that for the town of Stokesdale, North Carolina, see the Guilford County website for legal notices.
Oh, was it 470?
I'm willing to spend that much money. Excuse me.
That was on.
We can do that.
Just that one Board of Adjustment hearing, to put it in there twice, legal ad.
All right. So that brings us to the planning fees of 25,000.
So the 6,500 we're gonna leave until we find out.
Yeah, that's, That's a follow-up item.
Planning fee, yes, I have not received anything that would be changing. Have you, planning fees?
Ms. Thacker, I'd like for you to go back and check your records for 22 and 23 to see if we actually received $25,000 even in planning and zoning fees. It's just odd that we have 2 years in a row there where we received exactly
Payout.
$25,000.
That's the expense that we pay to Guilford County.
Correct. Every 6 months, 12,500.
That's our outlay for the planner.
Yes, sir.
We pay them 12.5 twice a year.
I thought we used to have that in the budget as contract planning.
It's been this since I've been here, so I'm not sure.
Really? All right. I'll mark it on my copy and we'll move on then. Thank you.
Okay, so that brings economic and physical development to 31.5. So,
As a follow-up item on that, can we check the memorandum of understanding or whatever it is we have between Guilford County? Just to make sure that that doesn't expire next year?
the 25,000,
Yes.
yes.
Not a memorandum of understanding.
I know what
What
you
is
mean.
that? Interlocal agreement. That's
Have
what
you
it
ever
is.
read our contract with Guilford County?
Yeah, I have actually.
Really?
This one. It's been a couple years though. I don't know when it
I think every
expires.
council member should enjoy
I
that.
know our animal services one expires in June,
Yeah,
and they're supposed to send us a new one, but
but we haven't heard anything on that, to see if that's going up, the animal, because it just went up last year.
I asked him if it was going up. He said that he didn't know. I met with the director, and he said, I have no idea. It'll be the finance department.
Okay,
Okay.
I can't imagine it'll go
then I'll
down.
need to follow up on that too, and see if I can get something out of him on that one too. Okay,
All right.
okay, so I will follow up with GC on this one too.
Well, we should have the interlocal agreement between
Oh,
us
yeah, we
and
do.
But when does that expire? Does that,
It'll say in the agreement.
oh, okay,
It'll say it in there.
okay.
It should.
Mr. Floyd, let me help you. There was an original contract with Guilford County, and then everything piggybacks onto it.
you amend it.
And sometimes you might have the animal control contract that might make mention of the planning contract. So you kinda gotta read it all as a whole in order to find the details for what, you're looking for. I don't really like the way it's done, but that's been my problem, looking at it in the past in this building.
Gotcha. I think my biggest question will be when does it expire? But moving on to general administrative expense.
Administrative expenses and fees and education. That one I did just move to $7,000. I know that there were some classes and things that I was wanting to bring to council for myself. They're not $7,000. But there is also the, finance, workshop that is in, I think it's in Wilmington this year, that I was also interested in, and I figured Robbie would have some more classes that he would be interested in taking. We can drop that number, because that is it was 2,500 this year and 37 last year, but I know that Robbie did 10 right mini classes last year, within the last 2 years, rather.
So the good news on that is attending that IMC certification at UNC Chapel Hill, that was a 4-week process. The good news is that got a lot of credits down quickly. So now the only thing is basically, I'm still not a member of CMC yet because I have to be a member for 2 years, and that'll kick in January of next year. I became a member in January of 22, so, no, I'm sorry, 23, because I started here in 22. So after 2 years, that'll kick in. Regardless, though, there's continuing education. It's about anywhere from, I think it's 6 to 9 hours. There's 2 conferences. There's one in the fall and one in the summer. Those are every year. Those are 2/3 of the continuing education requirement, and the other is usually just attending virtual workshops and stuff like that, most of which are free. So the only 2, I guess, big expenses, which would be significantly less than those week-long ones or the weekend ones or 2 to 3 day ones that are in the summer and fall. And it's just 2 of those a year.
Okay, thank you. Then advertising that's not zoning related?
That is for, last year we used it for well, we haven't used it a lot, but I know that in the past it's been used for, advertising for job purposes for the town of Stokesdale, and then anything, that is not related to zoning.
Okay. The membership and dues,
Yes, let me get to my,
it seems like it's pretty steady.
yes, it has been pretty, it did go up a little this year. That one D, that's what I was looking for. That one.
All right, travel and conferences for staff and council. What's the budget this year on that one?
Let me get back over here.
Well, yeah, they just-
I guess one thing,
29.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just thought about that. One thing that, that will, you all, and so Mr. Foy, Mr. Rigsby, Mr. Landers, you all have to take your ethics training. And so the class registration, I think it's just opened up this April. So we'll have to actually get on there and pick the virtual. It's all virtual. There'll be a certain day that you'll have to do it.
Okay,
But it's just opened up this month.
thank you.
And guys, be sure that you print whatever you need to and register it with the town clerk and keep a copy. Ask me how I know later.
Yep.
Mr. Jones get in trouble?
You gave me that advice the first time around and I heeded it.
Did you really?
I did.
That seems so rare. Thank you.
I do want to mention, one item that I did not put in this year's budget, and it's only because I'm trying to review this year's budget as I'm going down through this year's, was that code book development that I know that we discussed in the past. I do feel like that may be something that we could use ARPA money for, but that's not my call either. However, it is not in this budget, but I did want to bring that to your attention. It was $30,700 that we have in this year's budget.
But you think we can use the ARPA money? We need to do it?
Because we use the income replacement. That's what I used, I
But does
can
it
pretty
need,
much use it.
if we decided to do it, would it need to be in this budget? Or would we just do a budget amendment and come from ARPA?
Yeah, it would need to come from the reserved funds if we decided to do that. But I did want to bring that to your attention that I did not have that in here.
But you don't have to put it in here right now,
Not right now, but if you guys decide that, then
and we'll be able to go back and do that without, okay.
yeah.
As long, you can make any edits you want to it until you approve the budget ordinance
Right.
in July, or, sorry, June.
June,
Don't do
yeah.
it in July.
No, please don't do it in July. We'll all be in trouble.
The state can do it.
Well, we've been down to the wire before.
We sure have. But I did want to bring that to your attention, because we use the revenue replacement. And Robbie can vouch with me on that one. We can pretty much use that money for anything. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention on that.
Okay.
That's what Dale's been working on that, hasn't she?
Yes.
I mean, that's just not,
Yeah, so the good news to that is she's been working on it, and she's found quite a few text amendments that have never made its way into the development ordinance. That being, ordinances that you all have approved, they just haven't been codified into the book. So she's got all those together. I think as far as the substantial changes, she kind of backed off on that once you all started talking about the 160D compliance. So,
that all needs to be a joint deal, though. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't need to do
Yeah.
that and then not be compliant.
Correct. That's why she didn't want to go to MuniCode, because it costs a pretty good amount of money to ask them to update it. You're better off to give them every update at once rather than piecemeal it.
You didn't have to check with the school of government on that, did you, about that again?
So I've reached out to School of Government, and then just today, I received word from Chuck that the North Carolina League of Municipalities also does it. I haven't received a response from either of them, and I haven't reached out to the league yet, but I did receive a response from the PTRC yesterday.
Well,
Yeah,
what was the cost, did they say?
so I can give up the email to tell you exactly what it is, but if you do it right now, as not a member of the PTRC, it's $6,000. Not to exceed $6,000.
To do what?
For the PTRC, the Piedmont Triad Regional Council, to update our ordinance to be 160D compliant. Hold on, I can give you exactly,
And if you remember,
it was on Monday. Oh my goodness.
While he's looking for that, Derek, you asked me what the budget was this year for the travel and conference. It's $2,950.
Okay.
Here it is, okay. So, yeah, so if the town wanted to move forward with the PTRC assisting in becoming 160D compliant, it's a fee of $6,000. It says below that, the PTRC would welcome Stokesdale as a renewing member. We're not a member currently. We were a member in the past. Dues are based on population within the town of Stokesdale. Therefore, the dues would be $1,304. The total for the dues and the 160D project as a member would be $4,804.
$2,700 then is what you're saying.
Correct.
Well, we could join back up, and then if we didn't want to stay, we didn't have to stay.
Correct, yeah.
And
you
we'd
only have
save
to stay.
$2,000.
Yeah, you pay your dues for, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Or we could, you know,
Not
I'm
unheard
not
of.
saying we might stay with them, who knows? I mean, if we're gonna do something, but now, the school of government had a deal where they scanned it for $2,000.
I haven't been able to confirm that. What you've sent, at one time, they were doing that, but
Now, that was a few years ago, so they could have changed, but you ought to check that, because if they're doing it for that, and we're already a member, so we don't have to go through all that.
I've reached out, like I said, I don't know what takes so long. I reached out to the PTRC the day of our last town council meeting, and they just got back to me yesterday, so that was a month.
Well, check on that school of government, they may still be the same, and we're already paying them, correct?
Yeah, we're a member.
Yeah, okay, but that's good to know. We'll have a little bit of time to figure it out.
All right. Moving on, we come to town hall repairs and maintenance at $10,500.
But yes, that's just a cushion in case we need anything that can be moved. That's,
Seems like a reasonable figure. We've gotten the big dollar items out of the way, which I believe were 4 HVAC units, so.
yeah. Office equipment purchase and repair, 10,000. I don't know of any big item equipment purchases. Again, that was just more or less a number put there for now that can be moved. We can reduce that, or that's kind of a play number as well, unless there's any big items of, I've got a new computer. I don't know if anybody else needs anything, but we could drop that, or if there's anything that Robbie or anyone knows of that we may need for equipment purchase or repair of the equipment.
If YouTube doesn't start working, maybe.
Well, I think it's a reasonable number.
I know you did discuss, so I will say the projector's not working now. I don't know why. I think it's gotta be a software issue because no hardware's been changed. I can access it if I plug in an VGA cord on the wall over here. But other than that, it's not working. So when TCS came the other week, he said the projector was, older, and I made the comment, is there a way that we can make it brighter because you can't see it when the lights are on? He said, no, that one's maxed out. So I know that there's been discussion, or a request, I would say, about putting another television over here so that you'll have two sides with TVs for the audience to see.
You gotta be kidding.
I'm serious. Somebody did request that.
Kirk, what'd you say?
Jimmy said, huh?
A citizen of Stokesdale did ask if the town council would consider a television screen being added to this wall behind me here so that they could see it during a town council meeting.
You do realize that pivots out and will turn towards the audience.
I do, yes. I do. I guess the issue is they need to see it and you need to see it. So if we pivot it towards you, they won't see it. If we pivot it towards the audience, you won't see it. But that's something that we can handle on a case by case.
We got a bunch of TVs around there somewhere. Tim,
do?
y'all bought them.
Mm-hmm. 6 of them.
Didn't you buy them? There's a bunch of them here we got here, wasn't there?
Yeah.
TVs on every wall all over the place.
You hooked us up good, Tim.
Yeah. I just ain't had time to watch none of them.
All right.
Okay,
30,000 for the next one?
yes.
I mean,
That's for housekeeping, cleaning, office supplies, software. I mean, we're at 15.5 now for this year.
I'm good with 30. It's gonna be, we're gonna have to find a new, janitorial service. It's gonna be hard to imagine that the price is gonna be better than it is now.
I agree.
And I think, what are we, $450-ish a month?
470. Yeah, yeah. 470 a month. And
And by the end of April?
April's the 11th, middle. So,
Any candidates?
we've had one meeting here at Town Hall with someone, but I haven't got a follow-up. And I think Mason started, I don't want to say cold calling, but he started reaching out to some different people yesterday and asked them if they would be interested in coming by and meeting with us and kind of giving us a proposal. So I've got our last contract on hand to give them, and I've also got our checklist on hand, which was actually a portion of the last contract. It was an exhibit. So,
Thank you, Robbie. Postage,
Yes, that varies depending on what we have going out. And postage did go up again. Again, that's, kinda, it's been around, it was $2,000, I think, in the past where we had, actually for this year, it was $2,000 for this year as well and a couple of years prior. But we, as you see, we haven't used $2,000, so I just dropped that to $1,652.51.
all right. Now, elections, Kim, in my opinion, that should be zero. We won't have a municipal election in the next budget year.
Okay.
We don't have to pay the
I thought it was
presidential?
every other year for some reason. Is it not every other year?
I'm not aware.
Yeah, we would, because
just play the
Mr. Jones and Mr. Crawford seats are up in 25.
I thought
Yeah,
it was every other year.
Would that be,
They are, but that would be the FY '26
you're right,
budget.
you're right, you're right.
It is every other year.
Yes, you're
So-
right. I'm
so-
sorry, okay.
We should actually be getting an invoice from the county.
Yeah.
And they're or the Board of Elections, and little history I know, they're not quick.
Nope, they are
But
behind on us.
Ms. Thacker, do we get paid by the Board of Elections to utilize our space to hold the general elections and the primary?
Not that I know of. I do not know. Do you?
Then why do we do it?
Well,
So our citizens have a place to vote.
It's picked by a committee, I know that much. There's a committee in Guilford County that selects
Where'd they vote
locations.
before this town hall was built?
Say, I'm sorry, I have no idea.
The other town hall.
You lived here then, not me.
School,
Voted at the
yeah, at the school, that's right. Sure do.
So we'll bring elections down to zero.
yes. I mean, are we supposed to charge them for that?
Attach our fee schedule to the check and deduct
Well,
what it
Ms.
costs to rent
Thacker,
out the
if I
room.
discovered that they were paying other towns in Guilford County but weren't paying us, I would have an issue with it. Otherwise, I can live with it.
Are you gonna follow up on that,
Oh,
Mr.
they already
Jones?
padded the things.
Probably. I'll take care of that.
That's the same as it was.
You just let me know. Okay, where am I? Elections, next page. Move that to zero. Insurance, Bonding, workers'
Let me look at
comp,
it again.
that's gone to 10,000 because insurance is going up every time we blink our eyes. It was 9,000, it's gone, as you see, it's gone up $1,000 each month, each year roughly. And this past year our fiscal year that we're in is 9,000, so I did move that to 10,000.
Are we done paying insurance?
Yes.
We don't owe any, we won't
As far
owe
as I
any,
know.
we won't owe any more insurance?
As far as I know, we have received all of the bills that we should be receiving.
Talking about like property, general liability and all that?
Yes.
Okay, so I just
That
got
renews
emails.
in July.
Okay, correct.
This coming up, that doesn't renew again until 7/1.
Okay, so we don't,
So I got emails on that yesterday, Monday. You know, I had just reached out last week, I think, and talked about the North Carolina League of Municipalities, who we have our dental, vision, and workers' compensation, I'm sorry, workers' compensation, short-term disability, sorry, those insurances through. The rate didn't increase, so, correct.
So that's actually a little bit lower.
Oh, yeah, understood, yeah, but it correlates with this. So, same company, North Carolina League of Municipalities, is who we have our workers' comp, general, and property, all that through. And they have sent documents over needing approval to renew. So it's something that you all will have to consider renewing.
Now, could that be done at a staff level?
Yeah, we normally do that.
I have no idea.
Before the end of the semester.
The end of the fiscal year.
Yes.
As long as council's okay with renewing it with that, that's fine.
I don't recall ever voting to have to do that. I think,
I think I just signed.
Okay.
I just fill out.
did they give you a quote to renew?
Let me look.
Because after I fill out the workers' comp application is when they normally give us, I mean, I filled that out the past several years,
Okay, that's fine.
that workers' comp. Because
Got
I have
it.
to put in our payroll and all of that information in there, and then they send us another number back is when they do, is normally when they get that to us.
Okay.
And that's been, very consistent, like $750 each year. The only difference that went up this year on the insurance, I might add, will be my bond insurance, because it was requested that I up my amount for liability on my bond insurance. That
Okay.
was $244 this year,
Okay.
Here we go.
but the league requested that I move that up as well, so, because of all the ARPA money,
Okay.
so.
I can't find it. I know we just got it.
What, the quote?
I don't know if it's a quote or if they're just asking for it to be the renewed.
Yeah, because I haven't received anything from them yet.
Okay, Robbie.
I'll dig.
But we have
Okay.
I can give you my.
I'm just gonna put follow-up on the amount. That's what I'm writing here. That brings us to lawn outdoor maintenance. We're at 43. Our new contract with Excellence is 30. And I believe, it was Hunter, is it 12 or 14, Robbie? 12? So that puts us right there.
Yeah, it does.
I mean,
Can't buy $15,000 of mulch this year, but
He did ask us today if we wanted to do mulch.
15.
He didn't ask a price. I told him to give us a price.
you tell them we'd like somebody to donate us some?
I agree. I've got plenty of
We
leaves.
need to move up on that, I mean,
Could we cut some trees down for 25,000 and just mulch it out ourselves?
We just cut them down, you just chip them up, I can get a chipper,
Better make sure that workers' comp's paid.
somebody operate it.
I don't love 43, but certainly the two, if you add the two contracts that we have, it covers it, but,
we only have 1,000 left there.
right.
I'm with you.
Okay. I found it.
Well, if we get a better contract on our internet, we might, move some of that up there, I'm just saying.
Go back to it.
Can we piggyback off the school and cancel hours?
I'll let you piggyback off mine too, for a fee each month.
Can you put a booster on the front of your building and get it over here?
What is it, what are we talking about?
The internet.
Okay, sorry. I do have an update on that. I meant to,
We don't need internet.
oh, okay.
What'd we spend this year extra
On,
lawn and outdoor maintenance? I know we did the 2 contracts. What did we do?
we have,
Did we do anything else? I know,
no, we've only
No.
paid, we've paid 24,000 to date. Now, the reason my number over here doesn't say that for this year.
now we're
Oh,
putting
it
in, a
does say that, I'm sorry, 24,000,
we're
yes.
putting in a spigot.
But that wouldn't go, that would go
Where-
under my maintenance. You're talking about for the park?
Yeah.
That would go under my repair and
Okay.
park rental, I mean, park.
All right, so we haven't done anything, so we're right on the number. We still got 1,000. We, you know, unless we get mulch, we're not, so,
I mean, I'm good with 43.
yeah.
Town hall electricity.
Yes. Our electric bill has gone.
Got what?
Yes, everyone's has.
You can hang a meeting here tonight.
I know, it's cold. We budgeted 14,000 for this fiscal year that we're in now for 24. And we're at 89,63.97, and that's through February, so that's what, eight months-ish?
Four, half a third,
No.
4,500 more.
Daggum number, there we are, 89, that's what I said, 89, okay. And does this include, this is just through February. Yes, this is just through February, the 89. So,
Just split that in half and that's where you ought to be. But aren't they talking about another increase for Duke Power?
yes, and we just had one, and they were
Yeah.
talking about another one.
Yeah,
so.
so the 15th probably, might be a little high, but might not be much. Get Robbie to open the windows up a little bit.
Get some fans.
The windows don't.
No, don't use no fans, that burns electricity.
No, but if we get some fans from Dollar General, we pull.
All right, so that looks pretty good. Our internet and phone,
Yes,
That's what I have an update on.
thank
Excellent.
you. I hope it's a good one.
Not really. So Derek Lilly, he's the, at the March 14th regular town council meeting, I proposed a renewal for our services as is. You all noticed, and I didn't notice it at the time, that it's for a 36-month renewal. So it was a consensus for me to reach out to him and ask if this could be done on a 12-month renewal instead of a 36-month renewal. He said that that was okay, we could do that, but we would not save the money that the 36-month renewal will save. So this was his response. There would be no financial savings to the town in signing a 12-month renewal. The town would be better off in that case in just staying month to month without an existing solution.
Are we at, is contract up?
Yes, sir.
Have you talked to AT&T?
No, sir.
or Verizon.
Have you told him
I-
you might
I
talk to
won't,
AT&T?
I won't vote for another Spectrum contract. I just won't. And that's just
Understood.
the way it is.
Now, I can reach out to AT&T and Verizon, but what do we want to tell them?
Just reach out to them and see. I'm gonna tell you, those guys getting some wars. You know, let this guy know.
Kim, what would be a reasonable rate for like a small business in the town of Stokesdale?
I have
I'm not
18
asking you what you pay.
No, I mean, it does, I mean, I don't mind sharing it because I think what we pay is crazy for the town. I have AT&T and I have, 3 lines and my internet, which is whatever the newest internet, whatever you call it. And I pay $180 a month.
You getting ripped off?
So,
We pay a lot. It's my understanding that one of the,
And I mean, you know, knock on wood, unless the power goes out.
So what do we have here?
one of the biggest costs here, from what I can understand, is the fact that we have individual phone lines for every phone. And when I say that, they all have their own individual phone number. And that's pretty expensive. It's very expensive. And it's my
So
understanding.
how many phone lines do we have?
Yeah.
Because my 3 lines, you can call my three numbers, and if they're all three full, it automatically rolls to my voicemail.
I'd say 7.
I mean, I think we have way too much.
It's
for what we
overkill.
need. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's overkill.
The telephone's
And I know
overkill.
why it is, but
The telephone's overkill, the internet's underkill. I will say we get, I think 250 megabytes per second here. I get 300 at my house. That's the lowest that Spectrum will offer at my house.
I think
They're killing us.
AT&T would be a good call. I believe they run what's the,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's,
that's what I have at the house. I know there's a line right there. Yeah.
I had AT&T, well, yeah, I just switched it over, my son took it over, but I was getting 2 lines of internet, and we had good internet, and it was $134, and that was 2 lines, and she's, so $60 for another line, and it's not $60 for another line, so,
commercial,
yeah, it's commercial.
yeah, so,
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
3 lines of
I,
that.
Mine's
would-
2 lines.
I would,
I mean, we've been doing this for years, we're just blowing money.
I
How many
would offer the-
phones, how many phones do we have going here today? I mean, ain't no way 4 of y'all talking on the phone at the same time. I mean,
No.
okay, so even if you did, if $180, add another line, $240, if they're charging 60, they're not charging 60, you can get it cheaper than that. I mean, and I'm sure you can get an internet, but if you get this thing into a bidding thing, then, we ought to be able to save some money, a
Yeah.
lot of money.
And we have internet here, and we have internet that runs down to the concession stand as well. So as
You got
long,
2 internet.
same internet, same fiber, it's just 2 routers.
maybe have Mason give AT&T a call. And let's start that dialogue.
Absolutely.
because, You know,
Yeah, we're in a good position now because we're out of the contract. I remember
we are.
discussing this with you all last year, and we were still under contract, so we were kind of limited to what we could do. So
well, it was a sore subject before you got here.
I
Yeah,
understand.
that's a gift card.
Well, yeah,
And let this guy know that, we're gonna just kind of just go month to month for just a little bit. We're looking at some other options.
okay.
Cause he might find something.
So, that's a follow-up, or?
Yeah, Robbie, I would say it's not a game. It's not a kill. I'd like to have that 643-4011 number carry over. to
Yeah,
the new.
understood, yeah.
If that's not possible, it's not the end of the world. But I think that's
Yeah, it's important.
Your numbers go with you.
That's federal law.
Yeah, you're gonna get your numbers.
even if we have a web-based phone.
Yeah, your numbers go with you.
Okay.
They always have. I mean, I've switched
Yeah,
back and forth so many times.
I mean, I haven't had a house line in 22 years. I don't know.
I mean, I've switched, let's see, we've switched from Spectrum to AT&T to Spectrum, and,
Like all the retention.
yeah, you always get your number,
Okay, cool. The alarm, I think we should up, the security alarm, I think we should up it by 1,000.
Okay, well, we did budget 3,500 this year for it. But yeah, I was gonna ask that as far as, especially with the pickleball and all that stuff we've had going on lately, so 3,500. Is everybody good with that?
yeah, that's fine. For me.
Okay, so that puts our general admin at 165,652.51. Because
We took out elections.
oh, I did, you're right, thank you. Okay. Audit, $12,000, even though I know that, we did have, which she's, Cindy was gonna send out her, go ahead and send out our contract for this year. However, where we've got the funds, the ARPA, not the ARPA funds, but the, state funds, if we spend over a certain amount of money, we've gotta have that additional audit, like she was talking about during the audit presentation that night. And so I was just trying to cushion for that in case we did end up spending over that.
And I believe we will.
And I told, she and I have already discussed that actually last month. She and I discussed that when we were talking about the sales tax deal earlier. Cause I asked her about that too, and she actually asked me about the question as far as that goes, cause she would like to get that contract together and go ahead and get that signed for this year.
And with the ARPA money, I think it's realistic that our federal cash outlay could be pushing 500 too. So would that,
While she's looking up that, I'm gonna go back to something. So I was looking through these minutes here, and I did find, I think this is the one that I was thinking of. So, on February the 2nd, 2023, Councilman Jones made a motion to increase the plan review fee to $1,500 per review and to implement a $1 per linear foot inspection fee. Mayor Pro Tem Foy seconded the motion. So that was an update to the schedule of fees in the beginning of '23 regarding water lines.
yes. Now, I remember that vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That one I can confidently say I found. Now, this other one, I have no idea where it came from. Just haven't found it yet, I'll say that much.
Okay.
So that's the one that I was thinking of, because I remembered it was before we started talking budget, which makes sense. That was in February, we had our meeting in March, we actually didn't have it, we had it the following month. So that's the one that I recall.
Okay, thanks, Robbie.
Okay, Ms. Randolph, that is $750,000 for the federal funds, which we will not reach that because we don't even get $750,000. I mean, we've already spent, for the ARPA funds from the federal. And it's $100,000 for the state funds.
We'll
So-
definitely trigger that.
Yes, and I told her that we would definitely, I said 750, no, but for the federal, and I did tell her that 100, we would more than likely meet that one.
Because we have spent the 50 from the state. And then for water, I think we spent like 40. So I mean, I think it's reasonable that we would hit that.
Yes, and I did let her know that,
Okay.
so
500's the federal threshold,
750
750.
is the federal. It's 100 for state. So that is why I did go up on the audit fees for that, because I feel like there will be an additional fee for that
Well,
extra.
we need to talk about that. The park will be 500-ish for the year. That's the basketball, the playground, and some other things. So, I mean, and then the question comes, is the $3.1 million from Guilford County, now that's federal money.
But, well,
It's a question for the auditor,
yep,
I guess. I mean,
you're right.
and I still don't think it's likely we hit that 750.
I don't think so either, because I did tell her I did not think we would do the 750 in the federal, but I did tell her
So,
I felt confident we would do the 100 in the state.
so the question for her is that, you know, we were granted $3.1 million from Guilford County using their ARPA money, which was federal government money. And where does that follow or fall into the?
Okay. Got it.
I mean, it's gonna be close. It really will. So with that being said, 12,000 is the minimum, and if we're gonna have to do a yellow book audit. And if we have to do another.
Well, I'm sorry, no, the 10,625 is our contract with Ms. Randolph, for our regular
okay.
annual. Yes. So then I was kind of waiting to hear back from her, because she was gonna prepare.
Sure.
And so I just moved it to 12, not sure.
Well, that's, so I'll just put follow up.
Follow up, okay. Legal and professionals, 35. And we've done good this year, and that is also because, several of the fees that, I think about 7,800, I may be off 1,000 or so, or 1,000 maybe, right at 8,000 maybe, of the attorney fees that we have received has been billed back to like,
Right.
our grants.
I asked Chuck to put on his
You did.
bills or his invoices, anything having to do with our park projects and looking into the
Yep.
legalities of that.
He does. He always sends two separate
He does.
invoices. One's clearly labeled ARPA and the other's
Yes,
just,
and I always put those in those funds when,
Yeah.
so I left that at 35.
So, we budgeted 35 last year,
Yes.
so we're gonna come in
Under.
good shape. We're gonna need it, cause we're running short on some of those others. That's good.
Are y'all good with 35 there?
Yeah,
Let me verify that before I tell a lie. 45,000, excuse me, for this year, this fiscal
so we're gonna
year.
come in way under.
Yeah,
Well, that's good, cause we're gonna need it.
yeah.
We're gonna need it for some of the projects that didn't happen.
And, on the FICA, that is based on the salaries and, the stipends combined together. That's the FICA that the town of Stokesdale would, it's a little over. It was like 18.9 something, so I just rounded 19.1 for that one.
Okay, thank you.
And the mileage reimbursement, 600, that's for if staff needs to get, run errands, if Robbie runs to the attorney's office for us or something like that, or runs errands for us, he does send me his mileage sheet and I reimburse him for that. I think that's reasonable, because we never know. Payroll processing fees is 2,700.
I think that's too low.
Yeah, you're right, because I was thinking I should probably go to 2,900 to be safe on that one.
Well, if we're at 2 after 8 months, that's 1,000 per 4 months. So,
3.
I mean, I'd do 31.
It's, let's see. Let me go over here and see what that's for. Because that also includes our, it's roughly $100 times 26. Oh, that's 2,600. So, and then we have to pay 100, roughly 100 or a little-ish over that for the end of the year reports. So I guess that's where I got my 27 from. And this has been paid through 3/15. My number says the same as this report says.
And-
But we got paid. I probably haven't expensed that yet.
So you're only gonna be paying 3 more months.
Well, we pay per pay
36.
period. It's $98 per pay period, $99 per pay
Well,
period.
you really got it right on the nose, then, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Now, of course, that would, if they sent us anything would change, of course, I would need to adjust that, so, and that's why I was gonna mention maybe 2850, but if you think 31, Derek, or 20, at least
Well, I mean,
2,900,
Yeah,
I think.
you have the details perfect on that one, so 29 is a good one.
Okay, let me change that to 29. Where'd that go? That was 2,900. Okay. Town hall staff salaries. I took an average of what we're, from this past year. Not that I'm assuming we would get the 3% raise, but I did add the 3% raise in there in case it did happen. So that is included in town hall staff salaries. The health insurance and the dental and the vision and the short term. Did you say something went up on that?
No, it did not go
It
up
did
at all.
not go up, okay.
Ms. Thacker,
Yes,
the year-to-date number, 118,107, is that for the 9 months?
that is for, 18, let me get over there, Mr. Jones, give me a second. This fiscal year.
How long has Mason been with us?
Since November the 1st,
Okay.
5 months.
Okay. Let's get down to salaries here.
So we went 4 months without his salary.
Correct.
That's through February. So it does not have March's salary in there.
Okay, so it's 8 months worth.
Yes. And the majority of this is from when I did the actuals over to the side. Now, of course, that does not include Gary's because Gary's goes to the water.
Yes, ma'am.
What did we budget this year?
208,341.
So you basically just put down that plus the 3%.
Yes. That's what I did this year. Because if you look on your, if you don't mind, you would see, there's a split allocation in your packet. It shows exactly what those salaries are in total.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's kind of what I did there.
All right.
And then, the health insurance, the dental, and vision, short-term disability is pretty much, oh,
If we take the current salary payout, divide by 8, multiply that by 12, it's 177,160.
but not everyone gets, because we have hourly. It's just a budgeted, not everyone's on salary.
What did we budget for salary last year? If
Last year is in,
well, excuse me, for 24.
208,341.
Thank you. Well, the salaries are a major expenditure. Do we have a breakdown that's forecasting the number of hours for each employee going forward?
Kim, so I believe Priscilla, Kim, and Robbie are salary.
Priscilla, just
Okay.
Robbie and myself are salary.
Just Robbie, okay.
And the rest is hourly.
And when you work the assumptions, you're assuming 40 hours times 52?
Excluding the deputy clerk, I did him at 64 for 2 weeks, because he's 32,
Correct.
Okay.
yeah. And I did do Pris 40, and I did Dale, her average-ish,
20-ish.
20-ish,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So have you got a worksheet how you arrived at the 214,591? If you do, I'd like to have it,
Right
otherwise.
there, buddy.
It's in your packet.
Right there in your packet.
Last page.
Page
No.
1, oh, it's,
Technically,
several pages down from where
yeah,
you're
it
at.
actually is your last page, yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because he didn't get those last few pages. I put those in the.
Okay.
I'd like to see the $4,000. I want to talk more about salaries in our May meeting. The 214.
Well, if I may, Mr. Foy, hold on a second. Let me see if I can clarify something. I found the sheet on page 101 at the end of our report here. That looks great, I understand it, but it doesn't, as I said, it doesn't have any accounting for the number of hours budgeted. So Priscilla is not salary. Did you just say that?
That's correct.
But it says salary here. So,
Well, I'm sorry, they all say salary.
well, I know, and I'm just
Okay,
making sure that, for one, if a citizen pops up and asks me these for explanations, I'd like to be able to provide them. So is that budgeted at 40 hours for Priscilla?
yes,
Okay. For Dale is budgeted for 20 hours?
yes,
Okay.
as an estimate.
And for Kim?
That's 20
Okay. We know her.
average,
And Mr. Wagner is salary. And
100
then,
hours a week.
you'll blow our cover here. Like any organization, we abuse our young. So, young Mr. Winfrey, he is 32, am I correct there?
Correct.
Okay, I'm making notes. Okay, thank you all. Excuse me, Mr. Foy, you may proceed.
Gotta be careful saying young Mr. Winfrey, you're gonna offend somebody. I almost got thrown out of Florida one time for something like that,
Young Mr. Winfrey?
something similar.
Well, I got word that Chuck wanted to be referred to as Elder Mr. Winfrey. But that may increase his rate to us, I don't know. There's expense associated with wisdom.
I'm logging into ADP.
Now, the budgeted salaries has the 3% that if we give
Yes,
in it.
yes,
in
and
it.
yes.
Okay. Right,
And so the 214 with 3%, that doesn't include any kind of promotion.
No, it does not.
Okay.
What was last year's?
206, last year's budget number,
Yeah, and like
20,
what,
Like 209 something.
208, 341.
okay,
Yeah, 208, 341. And I've got, I'm gonna print this out for Mr. Jones. Bless
bless
you.
you.
Because I can go over here.
Okay, yeah, so that's, yeah,
That's 3%.
it's just
Yeah.
it's last year's times 3%, that's the increase.
That's what I did. And it, yeah, it does not include, promotions or anything like that.
Okay, moving along. Brings us to health insurance.
Oh, I need to get back to that page. Where's my health insurance? Yes, I left that at 16.8, and that is because we do have 3 full-time employees, although one of our employees, is not active in our health insurance. However, if she were to decide to be active, our premium would go up.
Okay, I think that's a reasonable number, and she would, open enrollment would be in November-ish.
And
To go.
she's eligible, so. you know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Dental, vision, short-term disability, is on the 3 full-time employees, same, so,
And it's not going up at all, so.
yeah, and Robbie, confirmed that it's not going up, so. The state retirement is at the 12.85, thank you, the 12.85% at the full-time employees' salary wages on the sheet.
Okay,
And that's not always, you know, because, like I said, we have hourly, so. The stipends for council is 34.8. That's where we've been for several years.
Probably more than they're worth.
I don't agree with
I'm
that.
gonna, be the elephant in the room on this. I think we need, I think we need to look at raising stipends. We've been stagnant for a while, we're fairly low. And, I think we need to come up with, I don't know. I mean, I know you can't, you know, the percentage throws it way off when you start talking percentages. So, but I think we need to look at stipends in a reasonable way.
Let's see what other towns offer.
If we raise stipends, how would that benefit our citizens?
Well, you know,
I know it'd benefit us, but how would it benefit our citizens?
it would allow us to, I mean, you know, at some point, you know, we've got to be reasonably reimbursed for our time and efforts. And if we've been stagnant for at least 5 years, we're not keeping up with cost of living, gas prices coming up and back and forth.
I would offer that I think that our stipends are probably the highest around. And for a small town, and the reason behind that, I would speculate, is that we don't have a town manager, which commands a higher salary, and then obviously a different set of statutory responsibilities and authorities. I mean, I hear what you're saying, Jim, but I believe Summerfield and Oak Ridge both just raised theirs, and theirs still isn't as high as ours. I was thinking about stipends myself earlier today, thinking about this meeting. I kind of like the idea of just taking the gross number and dividing it by 5, and then that's what each of us get. Instead of having a tiered system. I don't think there's really any need to have a tiered system in our town.
Well, the mayor does have some additional responsibilities as far as signing and stuff. I mean, I guess you articulate it that way, but we all have additional responsibilities in our own ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I mean, you got the property, and, you know, Tim's our kind of a water go-to, and, you know, Jimmy's our utility man.
Well, I didn't run for office to worry about that stipend, and
Yeah,
I'm glad to get it, don't get me wrong, and it's very useful. But I'm not gonna vote to raise mine. I'd vote to raise y'all's, but I'm not gonna accept any more.
I hear what you're saying. I personally would feel more comfortable keeping the number the same, but just dividing it equal. I mean, that's the way we operate, and, you know, titles are
Well,
nothing in this town.
We don't, the mayor's chair, you know, Mr. Crawford's not here, Mayor Crawford's not here. I don't know if he were here, if he would have an opinion about that one way or the other, and might say, well, hey, I have to do this and this and this. Or, you know, I'm just saying, there's nobody to speak for the mayor's position.
No, and you're absolutely right. You know, I think,
I don't have a problem with the mayor pro tem getting a little bit more and the mayor getting a little bit more. I just don't have a problem with it. But y'all do have a little bit of additional responsibility. I mean, if something hits the fan, y'all have a lot more, so.
Well, it's the perception anyway. That's, when there's a problem, somebody is looking for the mayor, not for Tim Jones or Jimmy Lance.
So let's just leave it like it is. I'm not gonna vote to raise my stipend. Like I said, I don't know how I did it, but, I didn't run to, you know, for that.
Well, I don't think any of us ran for the money, but I think it's just a fact of doing business. I mean, there's always a cost to do business, and if we want, you know, the citizens that are out there that are looking at, you know, running possibly the next election, you know, I mean, we've got to at least put a proper foundation for those that serve, and that's part of our duties.
Man, we got people that we got a guy that's run a sports program for 10 years, and he don't make a dime, and he probably puts more hours in than we do. We run a basketball program one time for 5 years. Two of us didn't, and when I say run, we had a board that helped, but we put in a lot of time. Karen put in more time than all of us put in at this town council. Never made a dime. It's just community service. You know, if I wanted to make money, I'd run for Congress.
If we get you elected, would you carry us on as staff members?
Yeah. No, I'm not. I don't care anything about it. Yeah, I mean, you know, you guys can do what you want to, but I'm not going.
Well, I mean, I think if you compare Stokesdale to other towns of roughly the same size, I don't think it would merit raising that figure. I'm not sure how that figure was arrived at in the first place. I don't believe it should be lower.
We're also a small town. It's not like we, could justify paying ourselves like the Greensboro City Council or the Guilford County
No,
Commissioners.
and please don't think that that's what I'm saying. I'm really looking to Oak Ridge and Summerfield, and that's it. And their stipends are less than ours.
Well, if we change forms of government in the future, would we cut our stipends correspondingly since we wouldn't have to do as much work?
Why are we even talking about that? We don't.
I don't know
Well,
when
I
that
mean,
might happen.
If the argument was used 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever it was, 6 years ago, to raise the stipends based off the fact we didn't have town manager, I think same argument would work in reverse.
Actually, if I may, Mr. Ford, there was never a vote of council to raise the stipends. There was a vote to increase the stipends in the budget, but there was never a vote to actually pay out the stipends. I protested at the time. It fell on deaf ears.
But once that budget was adopted, it became legal.
I disagree, Mr. Ford.
My statement just kind of supports what the law says, but I can't recite the law, so moving forward. Any other discussion about payroll expenses? That brings us to public safety. We're at $1,000 for the school,
Yes.
Yeah.
That,
and I believe Mr. Wagner has attached a letter from the principal.
yes.
The request mirrors just the morning, so it mirrors last year.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I just, I think we ought to keep that in there. I mean, I don't like it. That was one of those deals, I think that they ought to put that in their budget. But, evidently they don't, so. I feel like we should keep it in there.
All right.
You know my thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I got
I
kind of the
just-
same thoughts you got, but,
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, it's still,
we're exactly where I said we would be a year ago.
no,
You
I
know,
knew it too.
once we start going down that road,
Yeah.
it's gonna be expected, and they're not doing anything to overcome that obstacle.
Yeah.
So,
I'm surprised they didn't ask for more.
Well, now, I'm happy they did. I mean, I'm happy to do that. I don't,
Fire inspections and investigations, that's a tough one to budget for. I like that you have gone conservative or high in this instance. I think that's reasonable.
what'd you budget for last year?
10,000,
Okay,
same.
that's good. Better to be a little high on expenses.
And lastly, Guilford County Animal Control, that's a set figure and it could possibly go up, but we don't know that yet. But
I'll follow up on that,
and that's kind of goes the same question, the interlocal agreement.
yes. Which Robbie said that you said that, that renews in June. But
Yeah.
maybe we can hopefully
Yeah, our contract with Guilford County Animal Control expires June 30th, 2024. So I asked him at the time, they just popped in, the director, asked him at the time if he knew if it would increase. He said he wasn't sure, that the county finance department handled it, not him. So they were going through their budget meetings then. So I can send a follow-up email to him, and if he doesn't know, we can certainly get in touch with the person that would.
That's good. Thank you, Robbie.
And with the shared overhead expense, it actually came out to the same figure, the 45.9% for the 24 budget, for the 25, for the split allocation. And with that being said, right now, at the end of that, we're not at a zero balance, we're 25,1777 off.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
We're 25,1777 under, but, you know, as far as,
But
we
we're
would need
under.
to add that to some expense somewhere, or either,
Okay.
yeah. Or reduce income.
But we've got some questions
Yes.
that's gotta be answered, so let's just leave it there right now.
Yeah.
Good.
And just for the record, while we were talking earlier, I looked up the ABC distribution stuff, and and on their website, it still says 15% to cities that do not have ABC stores. So it doesn't appear there was an overall change there at the ABC level. But there's no breakdown anywhere I can find that says, you know, how much, who everybody gets. So I don't know if that would be in the city budget or the county budget, or I would think it'd be in the ABC budget, but it's not in there. So,
I will reach back out to, like I said, I'll go through the email and I'll find someone else to reach out to on that one.
unless
I
something's
think your
changed.
counterparts in Oak Ridge, Summerfield may. They should be having the same questions as we're having.
Unless we just missed a check, or something could have happened.
Right.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that we've, as a society, have slowed down on our drinking. You know, based on what I see, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Any further discussion or questions, comments about the general fund? All right, we've got several follow-ups there. Thank y'all. Kim, let's check out the water enterprise.
This one I'm definitely gonna need some help from you guys on. The damage and penalty meter resetting, the $1,000, that's at the backflow preventer fee, excuse me, I need to start there. I did not budget anything there because we've not received anything the past couple of years on that. I'm not even quite sure.
Hold
what
on,
the
we did it,
backflow-
there was a vote of council to do away with that.
Okay, well then that must be why I didn't do anything with it, so I will take that off completely.
I'm almost positive of that. Priscilla actually would have the best memory of that.
What is
To
this?
do away with the
Backflow
fees.
preventer fees,
For backflow.
preventer fees.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
This was early, this was either 20 or 21.
Explain how the fee was working to me, if you would, please.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'm thinking about something else, because I'm thinking about, I know somebody that had one put in. And it was a bunch of money, but that was the cost of the,
Yeah.
okay,
3,700.
yeah, I was getting ready to say.
I was pleased about that.
Yeah,
I was just wondering what context we had been applying this.
that's a sore subject that we need to, talk about sometime.
I'm just removing it off of here.
Well, if everybody's convinced, there's no action to be taken, then somebody can enlighten me later.
So the damage penalties, meter reading, et cetera, that's $1,000. That, we just never know, and a lot of times if there are any damages like what we had this past, anytime, we're normally reimbursed for those. So, and now we're back to the investment income, which I will run some numbers and I'll be glad to change those as well.
What do you think we're gonna have more?
Yes, we'll have more. I'll gotta see, let's see. There's not
Solid
as much
mold.
in the water. We have renewed what? Oh, they're gonna be renewing here soon. We haven't renewed any in the water. But they will be, we have one coming up in May and 3 coming up in November. So, in
What's-
hopes that those are at the 3.9, the 4,
What's the rates now?
3.6, 4, and 4 on
I'll
those.
bet
now.
you they won't be. I'll bet you they lower rates. For a little bit.
126.
So what is it if we were able to maintain the rate we had? What'd you say, 3.6?
Well, yeah, I would, because we've got 3, 9, 3, 6, and 4. And our amount there is 520,126.49. So, even if we did that at 4, or let's say 3.6 to lowball it, 520. We've gotten 31 to date. What does that go through? No, that's through February, that's 8 months. I mean, I would say 45, 48 max. If you,
Kim, is 45 safe?
yes, I would feel
Okay.
better with 45.
All right. Moving along, we have 20,000 in taps and connections. This has been extremely variable.
That thing, that's why I said I need your guy, the water is,
So,
see, we went way over this year so far, so.
well,
Where was all
taps
this?
and connections. This is new construction and existing?
Yes. I can't get my QuickBooks up. It won't come up.
Do we know what? Because if they're an existing property, don't they pay more than new construction?
Yes, significantly more.
New construction, there is no tap fee. We just charge them for a meter. The infrastructure's already there, the developer pays for it.
Yeah. The capacity.
You charge the capacity fee as well, but there's,
The connection, taps and connection. The capacity.
This don't include the capacity fee though, does it?
No, that's 750 per, the capacity fee is 750. And then the taps and connections, 300. Then the deposit is 50, and then there's another taps connection fee for 100. There's 4 different items.
Why did you put 20,000?
Because that is the category that I am,
You felt,
Robbie's trying to get QuickBooks, I can't get my QuickBooks up here.
you felt safe at it?
I do feel safe there, however, I mean, I look at 23 and we were at 16,000. And 22, 67,000, but we're at 37.9 now. So,
It's okay. Here, just unplug it for a minute.
Ms. Thacker, year 2022, we're showing 67,465 worth of taps and connection fees. Then it drops down to 16,000 and then back up to 37,900 year to date. So, how do you, is there an explanation for that wide variability swing?
There's not a lot of people who are connecting. I mean,
Kim, would you mind exporting the data into Excel and just distributing that so we can see?
as soon as Rob was trying to get QuickBooks up, it went away.
Well, that might be something to email out. I don't know if we're gonna.
Yeah, we just leave it like it is right now.
Well, there's just no way we have had, it's kind of rare for us to have I mean, people buy taps, but it's infrequently.
I'd rather be safe on the low end.
Yeah.
What is a connection fee versus a tap fee? Mr. Wagner?
I think that's used interchangeably.
Well, it could be two fees, couldn't it? I mean, you'd have, you tap onto the system and then,
We have a tap fee, we don't have a connection fee in addition there too, do we?
But what if you already had a tap and you had to reconnect? Would that not be a connection fee?
Yeah.
If for some reason, like, some new person moved in, they would have to connect.
you wouldn't have to pay to tap it because it's already tapped.
I'm not sure those are being broken out of our system separately.
No, but they are on the, application, they're broken out. The $300 fee
Okay.
is a tap and connection fee, and on the application,
Here. Got it.
Robbie's pulling it up.
Yeah, sorry. On the application for water service.
Okay, at the bottom.
Yeah.
So,
The 300 is the meter.
Correct.
We do have a disconnect, reconnect fee at 75 per occurrence on
Correct.
the rate sheet.
yeah, it's a,
Well, whatever happened 2 years ago is already done, but I'm just saying something don't look right there.
That's it.
so, but then this right
Yeah,
here
and
is
I
the
think
other.
she can send the,
Yeah.
the data for each transaction.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
let's,
others
let's
is
don't, let's don't go anymore. I mean,
which is,
These fees. Or
Well,
immediate
then-
tap fees.
The 20 can't be right if we've already had 37,900 year to date
Meter installation,
this budget year.
residential tap, 3,500, and then meter installation, 100.
so that's the 300, which was tap and connection.
Mhm.
And then the $100, and then I know the capacity fee is $750, then the deposit's $50.
Mhm.
You know, I will be happy to change this on the budget, the way it's worded, because I've never really liked this, but
Well, the wording, you know, for me, if we can look at that data.
Okay, we'll just keep it in mind. If we in this room don't understand it, how could we expect our citizens to? So as clear as we can make it, you know.
So based on the,
Yes.
the schedule that we've got here, so if there was a residential or commercial tap fee, it comes out to $4,700. The breakdown on that is $3,500 for the tap fee, $300 for the meter fee, $100 for the install meter fee, $750 for the capacity use fee, and $50 for the water deposit. That comes out to $4,700. And then for a residential water infrastructure by developer existing tap, that is a total cost of $1,200. That's a $300 meter fee plus a $100 install meter fee plus a $750 capacity use fee plus a $50 water deposit.
It appears we've stopped charging a higher deposit for rentals. Is that true?
No, it's $175. I can speak from experience on that one.
Okay. I'm just not seeing it on the fee schedule, but I'll keep looking, I'll find it.
It's the second, where it says page 3 of 4, it's the second, item.
It's under the $50 mark. It says $175 for lease / rent.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Okay, so lots of follow-up on that one, and then the data for me, would be most helpful. That brings us to water capacity fees, which, that looks reasonable to me.
Sending that in an Excel to you.
Okay.
I'll finish it in just a moment. Where are we?
Water capacity.
Okay. 50,000, yes. The water sales. I have mentioned 2, maybe 3 times now. I mean, I'm never one to say I ever want to go up on anything when it comes to bills or anything. However, where is that folder? The water bill lately. So I went to 622,000 because right now we're billing 600 and, how many bills do we send out? 600?
800.
Yeah,
I mean,
797.
excuse me, yes, I'm sorry. And then. Where does that add? I printed, when I paid the water bill, this past time, this water bill is concerning me as far as how it's going up, up, up. And then, and I'm sure you've noticed when you've been signing the checks, Derek, how they've been, it's been crazy.
Well, yeah, but we're charging our customers more, and I mean, if you look at, is that an 8-month number?
Yes,
That's $6.99 for the
Yeah.
year,
I mean,
which is more than we budgeted.
it is. However, you know, if,
it,
our water bill has been, this past time, $22,000, $18,000, $26,000, $28,000, it's never been that high. So, this is now the 3rd time I've mentioned something about it. So I'm just curious, you know, I don't know if something's going on there, but
Are
I
our
just,
water sales up?
yeah, they are up, but
Well, then our water bill's gonna be more.
that much?
But how much more is our sales up?
Ms. Thacker, we were just digging into that checking, and our unsold water is less than 5%. I mean, I can't say that it's monitored constantly, but we were just looking at that very recently.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the best way to monitor it. When that 5% came off of an annual comparison of what we paid for the year to Winston versus what we sold for the year to our water customers, and that's when we came to 5%, which is good. It's really good. It's the lowest it can actually be without the state not believing us. So that's good news. Problem is, we send bills out the 2nd week of the month, and we receive bills whenever they want to send them. Pris has to fight them for our water bills. I'm serious. Pris has to call and ask them, please send us our water bill. We need it for the reports and whatnot. They want you to pay it, but they don't want to send it to you.
Are they going more days? I mean, are they doing like maybe 28 days one time and then 35 days?
Consistent.
Very inconsistent.
Well, back up.
That's okay.
They're very
Are you saying they don't mail the bill to the town of Stokesdale? They email it? How do we receive the bill?
Mail it, but 9 times out of 10, I have to go online and find it, or Chris has to get after it.
Correct.
I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for a while now,
But you're saying the days might be 25 and then it might be 35.
and then it
Yeah.
might be 16.
Well, that'd be the reason the bills would be fluctuating so bad,
But if
Oh,
I
yeah.
go, okay,
wouldn't it?
And that, you're right. So when they bill us for 16 days, 30 days, 20 days, that's one thing. If we try to compare it with what we've sold, we sell it for 30 days. So it's hard to compare
I
a
see,
16-day
I see
basis,
that.
yeah.
right, it's hard, and when I'm trying to, you know, do the budget, I'm trying to make sure that we are charging enough in order for us to be able to pay our bills. So I'm just trying to make sure that that is why I've kind of stopped here and said, this is where I definitely need some help as far as this goes. And I've sent this to, Pris, and she's on top of this, like, really good. But like, the last wheel that we just got was for 16 days. And it was for $9,700 for 16 days. Pretty sure that was $9,700. I think I've got it right here.
Well, that's the only way you can do it is grab you a handful
$97.64.
of bills and average them up and average your sales
Right.
on
Kim,
a long period of time.
If we annualized our water purchase to date, we're at about $240,000 against a $250,000 budget. Now, if we annualized our sales, that'd be $699,000. Just taking the 466 divided by 8 times 12.
That probably includes March as well, the beginning of March as well. But yes, so we'll say that.
I mean, look, it merits looking at. I appreciate, the concern. But
Good news is we actually have to look at it every year when we do our local water supply plan. So not to say that we don't need to look at it for other reasons, but that's a surefire way that it is checked every single
well,
year.
the budget's a fantastic reason to look at it.
Absolutely.
Mr. Foy, I'm gonna have to leave about 10. I've got a work thing I need to go
Sure.
attend to.
Well,
Just FYI.
we can move along. I guess a request. Yeah, Robbie, if you wouldn't mind scanning the last 10 water bills and just shooting them to me, and I'll geek out with that a little bit.
Three of them.
Okay.
Spreadsheet
The
city.
last
Oh,
10
my
with the same
goodness.
water bills.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got you.
I can get those, I can shoot them right over to you,
Okay, that works.
because I've been keeping my eye on
Okay.
things. I've been
All
nervous,
right,
you know,
moving
I've been
along.
nervous.
Understood.
I've been very nervous about them.
Yeah.
The purchase for water at $250. Now, I do think that's low.
Yeah. Especially if that's gonna continue to go up. I was trying to get you guys a number too, for year to date.
Well, we're at 240. Year to date,
No, I was still on the income.
okay,
So,
sorry.
and I was just right, let's do it again. I'm gonna leave my QuickBooks alone. So the water purchase, yes. So when I went through here, and this number is through. Absolutely may have that included. March 6th. Okay, this number is through March 6th, the 159,748.
All right,
So,
let's just call that 240,000 annualized. So, in my opinion, 250 is gonna be low on that budget. I think 285.
yes, and that service period was through 2/1 through 3/4, and that bill was 16,663.
February, 29 days.
That's 33 days.
That's reasonable.
roughly. Though that's good.
Yeah.
That's a
But
good
then we get one for
16 days or
16 days or 20 days for $20-some thousand. This is where I'm just not happy with, we just need to figure out something on this.
Oh, so you're saying the short days is a bigger bill than the long days?
Well, the days, they vary so much, and that's why I have been on, I have really been trying to keep a close eye on this, because it's crazy how the days, 16 days, well, this says 16 days, $22,179, 33 days, $18,274. I mean, this comes straight from the city of Winston. So, 43 days is $18,331.
Yeah, less than the 16.
It's less than this, so it's just very, I hope you understand where my concern
Oh, I
is.
see
I
where you're
absolutely
going.
do.
So,
Wondering why the cost per day varies so much.
I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm curious because, and I just want to make sure that we are receiving enough money to make sure that we're good. So,
Well, I definitely think we need to do a rate study, and I think those are,
Mr. Foy, I don't know if this is possible, but do keep in mind that our elevated tank is installed in such a way as there may be those times when more customers are using water out of the tank one day versus another day because of the way our system functions. And that could account for some variability with the billing,
and it tells you the
if you see what I'm saying. It's probably a question for Aaron, maybe.
It's odd.
So we consume 788, but our bill's only 18,000? That's just so strange.
Kim, I think it would be reasonable to increase the 250 to 285
285.
and from, and offset that in water sales. So add 35 to the water sales. That's a very conservative figure, I believe. Because year to date, if you annualize it, then that's $699.
So you're adding 35 to the water sales,
Yes, sir, and 35 to the water purchase.
657.
Okay.
All right, moving along, bond and insurance. We've never paid anything.
We haven't, and as far as that, I'm not sure, that has been in there in the past several years. I don't know of any bond or insurance that we have for the water.
Take it out.
So, but I just wanted to make sure there is none that,
Does it have anything to do with Gary?
well, doesn't get, well, since, maybe that was in there.
Robbie, why don't you give Matt Casto a call? Say, we've had this line item, it's kind of a legacy line item. What are we missing? What's required here? Contract operations at 85. What all goes into this, Kim?
That is, Yates Construction.
That's reading the meters, that's,
That's anything from
Installing
Yates
meters?
Construction, yes.
but it wouldn't be repairing water lines.
Hold on, let me get in here.
We pay them, if I'm not mistaken, don't we pay them every so often just to be on,
We pay them $1,200 for the contract.
to be on standby?
Yes,
Okay,
$1,200 monthly.
and that's, okay, gotcha.
But as far as but aren't we under contract with them to be not only on standby, but to fix things and, we're contracted with them, correct? For all of, the above.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's where,
I would say there's no existing contract. And I only say that because I asked the question very early on, was chided for even asking, but was told something about an evergreen contract. I don't know. I don't think there's necessarily a contract in place. Just my opinion,
so do I need
off
to
of what
just,
I was told in the past.
You're dispersing $1,200 a month.
yes, plus any other, it's not only the 12, plus any other items that printout you get each month from me, where it details what goes.
What's the 1,200 for?
What's the invoice?
It's the invoice that we receive on a monthly, we get it
Got
every
one.
month,
Y'all got one handy?
yes.
Does that include the meter reading? Does that have anything to do with the meter reading? $1,200?
I don't think so. Let me just go grab my last,
You remember when y'all voted on this, Mr. Ford?
When we voted on what?
A $1,200
No,
monthly fee to Yates.
It's been, I haven't voted for that.
Well, I haven't voted for that. Guys, we had this conversation last budget year, so I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm pretty sure Yates is not marking all of our water lines. All the 811 calls are not being taken care of by Yates for less than $400 a year. Down here at the bottom of the page, I mention it because it's interrelated with the line item we're discussing.
Agreed.
Is that the wind?
It's a plane.
Oh.
I hope.
I thought, good gracious.
Here, thought there a minute it was gonna crash in here.
So the question is, where'd the $259.20 come from?
I'm sorry, where are you at, Tim?
Towards the bottom of the page where it says, marking water lines 811. Because of course Yates provides that service for us. I don't think we're hiring anybody else to do that at the moment.
That's right.
This is an every month. This is the contract type, 14.4.
All right. Tim, are you good with, if we move along and revisit this one?
Sure.
This brings us to $50,000 for engineering and infrastructure consulting. Now, that may seem high, but should we have new water lines and new subdivisions go in, much like Blacksmith, that example was used earlier, there would be a cash outlay there. What you got?
Is that or is that not to read water meters, or is that something else?
That's what I figured it was read water meters, because it's a set thing every month. Because they are contracted to read water meters.
I was asking if you might recall voting.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
On a monthly, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're contracted to read water meters.
Anything else, but anything outside of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that,
Would, I guess,
that figure is an annual figure, Tim,
yeah.
for the water meters, and the monthly.
If that's not for reading water meters, I need to see the paperwork.
Okay.
If it's not for reading water meters.
I'm gonna bet you it's read water meter. I mean, that's the only recurring expense we have with them.
It is, the annual amount is listed
They're
there,
reading
and
their
then
water
it's
meters.
charged monthly.
Yeah. But see, then this
So that
says
top
total
figure you
contract
had
amount.
is the annual.
14.4.
Okay. And then the 12 is the monthly of that.
Yes, but
But at
I
the
think
top
Ms.
of,
Thacker's confused.
no, it says monthly, yes, it does, but if you look at the next bill, it also
No,
says total contract amount.
No, what I meant was you alluded to the fact that you thought it was for them to be on standby, to be on retainer, when in fact we think that amount is for reading the town's water meters monthly.
Okay,
But just, if it's anything other than that, Mr. Wagner will let me know.
I don't think that it is on here, you're right, as far as where it says that, because it does say that.
No biggie.
Then it does say on the other invoices, it always says total contract amount, so that is where I assumed that we were under contract as far as having them come and do whatever needs to be done.
Right.
The closest it is to April 15th, I'm amazed that you can keep as much composure as you do.
I will admit, I was under the same impression. I thought that we were under contract with them, so that was my understanding.
We are to do water meters.
But
Understood.
nothing else.
No, I
That's
mean,
it.
we
So-
use them for about everything, but
Yeah.
So then moving forward, just to clarify, under that contract operations, I only need to put that the $1,200 monthly underneath there,
You could
correct?
put the other up there for,
Okay,
repairs, because that's where the other money comes from.
All right, sounds
Okay.
good.
we got it. Thank you.
Sounds good to me.
And I'll fix this budget years as well, and I'll move those and move them.
We would need to amend the budget. I mean, if we're gonna change the way we're doing things in the middle of the year, we probably need to amend that budget.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at, that's why I was just, yeah. Moving forward though, for this year's budget, we could,
It, maybe another budget year, we need to get Yates to bill separately for the meter reading, and that would eliminate some of the confusion I think you're suffering.
All right, engineering and infrastructure consulting, we got 50 in there. I mean, I think it's a good number.
Next,
Dues and subscriptions, I mean, I think 65's high.
well, that, yes, it also includes any office supplies, that includes any general, anything, any purchases or whatever, which, that can be detailed out more. Last year, I just, requested from you guys if I could, combine those items, do subscription, office supplies and everything all together.
Right.
It probably, well, I mean, we're at 26 now, a little over halfway through the year, so.
is this what you put last year?
Last year, we used,
Oh,
yes,
is that's what you budgeted?
yes.
Okay,
That was the exact number to be exact.
all right, well, that's a safe number.
Okay. ORC, 16,000, that's steady, that's a contract. And the question I would have is there an expiration date to that contract, or is it just a signed agreement and
We'll have to check on that.
follow-up?
I think there is.
Postage looks good. Of course, FICA and salaries line up. All right, this is the question I was gonna ask the general fund about salaries. Gary, of course, is all water.
Correct.
The Water Enterprise Fund reimburses the general fund because his paycheck is actually paid out of the general fund.
That is correct.
So do we need to account for that?
Well, immediately when he gets paid, it never hits the income statement as far as, it always goes immediately on the receivable.
Okay.
So it never hits the budget.
But let's talk through this. The cash outlay itself comes from the general fund, which is reimbursed in full.
Correct.
So I'm wondering if the general fund budget needs to be $10,000 higher, or are we double dipping if we do that?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to add it under the shared overhead expense at the bottom, but it would be 100%. It wouldn't be at the 45.9, and I could do that at the 100. And we could just put that in there as, water payroll expense reimbursement. But it never hits that line item. So just so you do know that, it always hits on the receivable side. Because I detail every bit of that. I split everyone's out, taxes and everything out.
No, I agree. I'm just thinking of it from the general fund
I
budget.
see where you're coming from. I do. It's not in that 200 number that I wrote, that I put in there.
Well, look into that one, think it over. I will say we've done it this way forever, and the auditors are perfectly comfortable with it.
And they, including Mr. Rouse, they always looked at his salaries and went to the
Right.
reports and checked, and they never said And I don't know if it's where it never hits the budget per se. It hits straight on the receivable side
Okay.
as a reimbursement. And and immediately goes to a payable, so I see where you're coming from the cash flow purposes. I got you. But it's more or less just a wash on both sides.
Well, it is. It is. I'm just wondering if it just needs to be recorded on the general fund budget. And
And I'll ask
I'm
Cindy.
more inclined to think it needs to at least be noted on there. Because you're right, it's not a shared expense, it's 100% direct. Okay.
And I do note it in my notes every
Uh-huh.
every month.
Like I
No,
say,
got you.
we're
ask
not
you.
doing anything wrong. We've been successful at what we're doing, but
But I totally 100% see where you're coming from the accounting point of view on that.
I mean, the purpose
But-
in my opinion, the purpose of a government budget is really so anybody can follow.
Yes,
And if there's $10,000 of cash coming out of the general fund, that's not really reflected on there, and that it's reimbursed. I don't know. I digress. I think it is something to consider.
it would, but to me, that would just be, if we pulled it out as an expense and went, it would end up being two entries. It would come out as an expense to a receivable, and on the water side, it would be the same. It would, I'll ask Cindy what she thinks about it,
Yeah.
or what she says about it.
There's the accounting side of it, and then, of course, there's just the layman's perspective, so.
Yeah. I'll ask her what she advises to do on that. Should
All right.
we show it on the financials?
Moving along, I'm gonna push the throttle forward here. Chemicals looks good, Kim. Chlorinator maintenance. Looks like this is something we have in the budget, but have not spent against that item. But I would recommend leaving it in there. Jimmy, what do you think?
Yeah, leave it, cause
Jim?
it may come
Yeah,
up.
absolutely.
All right. In fact,
Now, the electricity chlorinator utilities, that bill is $58.69 a month. It has been that way, so, and I know that comes up to like $701, but I cushion, just in case, and that's from Energy United, just in case it goes
Oh, yeah,
up,
yeah.
so,
That's
Okay.
the only
Just
one
leave
we
it.
have under
yeah,
Energy
that's
United.
the
only
one I had the question about.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only one that we have, but it runs us around $700 a year, but just in case, because, things are going up, so that's why I put $750 this year.
All right, marking water lines, 811.
Now, there was a question on that. What
There
was,
was last year, for sure. Tim had the question about
what was the question?
It-
I can't remember. I remember you bringing it up, but I wasn't sure what the
yeah,
exact
it was
question
last year. I guess we got it
I-
solved last year. I don't know if we did or not.
I mean, just looking at it, it would be hard to believe that as much water line marking they do, it's only cost us, $531.
It's $50 per occurrence by Yates Construction.
Yeah, I mean, they've,
$259.20.
Yeah, you're looking at the electricity chlorinator utility.
I don't think it's fixable. We talked about it last year.
Doesn't that
I
go,
just-
that
I don't think we can fix it.
That goes to pay salmon.
No, the 811s.
I mean, I'm sorry, the
Yeah,
811
811s,
goes,
yeah, they go to Yates
that is $30. Pay $30 per.
per, oh, okay. Chris said 50, but if you pay 30, then it's
I
30.
thought because that goes to 811, and that's $30. No, that's 68 or 30. Hold on, it's right here. Excuse me, 3070.
Okay. So we pay 811 and then they pay Yates.
I guess.
okay. Supplier and hydrant maintenance, supplies and hydrant maintenance?
Water hydrant,
Yeah,
supplies and water hydrant maintenance. That's been there. It's just been something that's been there for years. one of those, I guess you don't know if you have to replace something, you know, what, I have no idea.
Maybe somebody knocks a couple of them down.
Meter installation, general repair, I mean,
You never know about that either.
Is that, the replacing of the old meters with the new meters? Is that under that line, or is there
No,
a separate one?
that's a separate line
Okay.
down below
cool.
for that one. That's just a meter installation, I guess that's where I need to,
Under
Okay.
the connection and tap fee.
there's a lot of I don't knows here.
Well, you just going off the number. I'm sorry, go ahead, Derek, I'm interrupting you.
In the event that we needed to analyze what we were doing, we could go back, or have staff go back through all the Yates invoices and pick out whatever we needed and make a list and do the math. And so from that perspective, it doesn't concern me that we don't have every penny and nickel in place between these categories for most of these services Yates is performing. That makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of categories here, and I think that's,
Well,
that's what I struggle with. They're even in different. They're in different, there's a lot of line items here, and they're in different categories that kind of are all, seem to be a catch-all. I don't have a solution for that, but
no, I don't either. Functionally, we should just about have a line that says Yates and,
I mean,
Well-
we don't really know what's gonna happen.
but, you
We
know,
just know something is gonna happen.
you know, I mean, Yates doesn't guarantee us tomorrow, basically.
Meter installation, was that what we used last year, 12,000?
I mean,
Actually, it was 15,000.
Really?
I dropped it to
dropped it.
12.
Okay, and we only used 1,000, oh, wait a minute,
So-
8,000 last year. We only done 1,000. And the year before, 800. You reckon we must have had a line item somewhere else we were doing? Surely it wouldn't just been $806.
I would personally like to blow the whole water enterprise budget up and just make it more user-friendly to read about where the money's going. And by blowing it up, I do mean simplifying it to a degree.
I know what you mean, because I've been with you since day one on that one,
I mean, it's
on
just,
both of them.
maybe I'll do a mock-up and propose it to Cancel and Kim and Robbie. All right, water tank maintenance, proposed budget $1,000. Let's talk about that water tank. Have y'all noticed, is it just me or is it kind of fading up top?
They hadn't been up.
The color of it? Is that
I
something?
kinda assumed that was like pollen or something, or dirt, or.
Well,
No, it's
it was before.
Climb up, Robbie, and find out what it's doing.
The decision to paint it
Oh,
blue
did you
was based
seriously?
off of personal aesthetics by certain council members. It should have been painted white to reflect the sunlight and provide the longest lifespan for the paint, is what should have happened.
Didn't it used to be white?
If it's painted again,
Absolutely was.
I would wanna paint it white.
That's why we
but
got those blue banners.
I brought it up. You know, so,
I guess,
and the next time it's painted,
the
we'd
same
like
blue.
for a spray can
Huh?
paint
same
you know,
blue.
maybe
They don't even
orange for
match.
the float ball that goes up and down.
I agree with that.
help me out here. If it was cleaned and waxed professionally,
Waxed, town staff?
no,
Fridays, they ain't doing nothing else.
definitely not answering
I would
phones.
cover that.
We don't have that in the budget.
Look, I don't want to spend a fortune to have it done.
It's aging, I don't think there's a solution.
It's, It's 5 years though, Tim.
And
Has it been 5?
I,
Really?
Yeah.
things are gonna fade over time. That paint must not have had the best UV.
I know systems that buy service contracts, and that's the way they maintain their tanks. We can talk about that sometime if you want to. I can put you in touch with some folk. But,
Well, to be fair, I've had no one complain. Nobody said anything. It's just
I'll be
Everybody's
gone.
gonna be.
when I'm
looking.
going down Athens every day, a couple times a day, I look at it and
They put that old Chevrolet Blue on there from Earl Shives. Y'all don't remember Earl, do you?
My favorite picture was the guy sitting up on the arm where the pulley comes down for the tank gauge, sitting up there with a paintbrush painting one morning.
yeah.
I took his picture.
I'm not talking about repainting it. I'm talking about cleaning and
Refreshing.
refreshing it with the wax. I mean, is
I have no idea.
It's not a house. These people, they're very expensive. Let me think about it.
Do I need to put follow-up on that one?
no? I mean, I think that's that's just got to be something.
What about the inside?
I've said it annoys me, and maybe it shouldn't.
How much did it cost to paint that tank? Do you remember? You're the one who voted to do it.
Yeah.
$210,000.
To paint it?
That was inside.
Well,
outside.
yeah, there was.
The inside's a big expense, but it may be that we might, there may be some warranty issue here that we need to investigate. We could have some premature paint failure for some reason, but it is aging, it is fading.
And is there anything that we can do to prolong that aging? That wax on, wax off. Come on, Jimmy. See what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I hear you.
It can be a long extension cord on the buffer.
You get a sunshade like we have at the.
Well, they
playground.
got a battery operated now. We always got them all.
I was just thinking of
The cord's what you
get the
hang on
ShamWow
to
guy
stay
out there
up
and just.
Yeah.
Start wiping down.
We'll move on. Y'all at least know what I'm thinking.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I'll be looking at it tomorrow, I promise.
Everybody
man.
will be, anybody.
I'll be running by here tomorrow.
It'll be in the paper.
Hold on.
Nah,
It's gonna be in the paper now.
no.
They don't
All
put
right,
it in the paper.
water testing,
That number I need to,
increase.
I do,
All right,
because I may be requesting a budget amendment for this year.
okay.
So I need to, I didn't realize that until I received a bill, last month, but,
We're talking lab fees here, right? Okay.
backflow testing. Well, where's the backflow testing supposed to?
That's the
Isn't
property
that-
owner's responsibility.
Yeah.
We don't pay anybody to do backflow testing.
Something I'll never do.
Oh, yes, you will.
Got 2 bills from Quant's backflow services.
Could that have been for here?
It might have been the town property.
Yeah.
That'd been it.
Oh, okay, well,
We have.
We're probably the only one in town that would do this. There's not many people that. I can't say I blame them.
We have backflows here, right? On account of the irrigation?
Oh, yeah, we have to.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
thought so.
Water testing, could you bump that up a couple thousand, Kim?
yes, gladly. Let me get to my spreadsheet. I'll move that to 65.
So transfer to capital reserve fund, that figure should mirror our capacity fees, as they gotta go in a different
I
bucket.
didn't change that, no, we didn't change that up there.
Then we have our water meter change out and new construction.
Where are we at with the electronic meter change outs? Are we done with that?
No.
Not? How?
It's kind of been halted.
Why?
Seems like there was a hard time getting meters during COVID, and from that point forward, it's just not progressed.
So supply chain issue, don't you remember we having trouble getting enough for the new installs?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. I would
We're
think
still
that-
having trouble getting them?
Not to
I
my
would think
knowledge.
that's resolved
Yeah, I
itself.
think we're getting them. As soon as you order them, they come in. We've got just as many nodes as we do meters.
So how many more do we need to change out?
That'd be a question for Priscilla.
All
I'm
right.
not sure, but. I
And
can
when
text
those
her.
are purchased, she normally lets me
No,
know.
you don't have to, I mean, it's late. It's 10 o'clock. Please don't text her.
She's watching.
Okay.
She heard your Friday comment.
She heard my what?
Friday comment.
That was Rigsby.
Oh, about the phones?
No, about getting on the water tower and cleaning it. That was Rigsby that made that statement.
Yeah, so on Fridays, they could get up there and do that.
And then the overhead expense reimbursement down below just mirrors the general fund. Well, it actually, no, it doesn't now. I need to change that. I'll need to change those numbers. But they will mirror the shared overhead expenses from the water fund.
Okay.
I mean, from the, excuse me, the general fund.
All right.
So what are we doing with this one? We need to follow up on the bond insurance. And I guess discuss maybe in a little more moving forward about the contract operations and maybe changing that category item maybe.
Yeah.
200 water meters to be replaced. There's still around 200 manual read meters. So,
Okay.
those 200 are turning auto read.
That concludes the general fund water enterprise extremely rough draft.
Yes.
I'm gonna need to go unless we're about to wrap this up.
I'm wrapping it up.
Oh, okay.
Yep. In the May meeting, in the May meeting, we'll have a lot of follow-ups to circle back around on. This water enterprise fund, and this is not a staff issue. This is just, I just struggle with the way it reads and all the different, line items and categories, and it's, it may have made sense for us a while back, and it may make sense now. It just doesn't to me. All right. Guys, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, that brings us to citizens' comments. Folks, anything? All right. Where's the agenda here? We should have council comments. Jim?
Appreciate everybody coming out.
I agree. And thank you to staff for putting this together, and I appreciate your commitment to working along, and I'm confident come June, we'll have just as in every other year, it'll be our, 34th, 35th consecutive year without a property tax in this town? You know, I think that's remarkable.
Oh, I got one quick thing to say, and I think it'll make you guys very happy. I had a client who came to me from an hour away, and she said she did not mind me saying this. She is the deputy finance director for where she is at, and she had already heard about the town of Stokesdale. She found me on Google and came an hour to see me.
Cool.
And she said that she wanted to give you guys praise for as many years as you have done and as well as you have done as council members in keeping the budget low and not charging a tax. She thought she said a huge round of applause. So,
Well,
so she wished her town could mirror this, but she knows it'll never happen.
That's very
Anyway,
kind
I'm
of her.
sorry, I just wanted to tell you guys that.
There's a lot of people to thank for that. Let's see, that's all I have. Tim, how about you, sir?
I thank you to Ms. Landorf and, Mr. Stevens for attending our meeting.
All right, and Jimmy?
That was nice to hear what Kim had to say. We are set up because of the past generation that set us up like this and it's enabled us to do that. It's a good thing that we do it because it'd be very easy to elect 3 people to come in here and turn over the turnip truck. So we can, it's good that these guys help keep it going and hopefully you know, one day, the next council can too. I always hear people say that we're gonna have to have a property tax sooner or later. I don't know that. I don't know, you know. Maybe not, yeah. Maybe we can keep it going, and maybe the next guys that come up, or gals, or whoever, can keep it going, but it, we did get set up by other council members, so we appreciate them.
That's right. All
Motion
right.
to adjourn?
Second.
Just real quick announcements. The next regularly town council, meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April the 11th, 2024 at 7 PM inside the Stokesdale Town Hall Council Chambers. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem will not be here for that
Young
council
boy.
meeting.
We have this, we had to buy it from the state. If you wanna take a picture, this is the vote that done us in sales tax district.
Looks like it worked the whole way.
Motions on the previous page. But anyway, that's the actual vote.
I really don't want this
I'll get young Mr. Wagner to email it to you.
email, well, I'm sending it to him this way.
He did.
Yeah, we kept asking for it from the Guilford County and couldn't get it. So-
Wow.
So finally got it from the state.
My copy.